If you've ever been extremely thankful for Tim Melvin, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is going to be the Thursday, September 11th edition. Obviously, very sensitive day and mournful morning here, but we are going to make the best out of what we see here in the market today. We're going to break down all of the news, and as you folks already know, we have a giant CPI report coming 29 minutes from now. We're going to cover all of that. We're going to get the pre-market playbook written for you so you're ready to go. Benzinga's pre-market playbook, the September 11th edition for 2025, starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a great rest of your evening and you are ready to go here today. Welcome back. We are going to make some sense of this crazy market. Zach today is first. Congrats, Zach. Way to go. No cheerful good mornings for me today. My condolences, America. Now let's trade this market. Well said, Zach. I understand that it is a very, very tough morning. The only thing I can promise you today is that I am going to do the best job that I can to focus on the market. I may make some mistakes. I may not do as good of a job as I normally do, but I promise each and every one of you out there that I will do the best job that I can. Well said, Zach. Good morning. Ryan, good morning. EKS, not a great morning. 9/11 and Rip Kirk, indeed. But we're going to focus on the task at hand here. Florida Yacht Insurance Guy, good morning. Welcome back. Chuck, good morning. Abed, good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Neville, welcome back. Jane, good morning. Candace, good morning. Producer, thank you for doing everything that you do on a regular basis. And good morning. Ethan, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Lion, welcome back. It's good to see you, boss. Cad, good morning. Just passing through, good morning. Cam, good morning. All that glitters. Hopefully our accounts are glittering today. Good morning. Welcome back. Abby, good morning. Tyler, good morning. Laura in Florida, it's good to see you again. Day Trader, welcome back. Good to see you as always. Glass half full, good morning. Richard Judge, good morning. Judge, I could use your help putting some positivity into the universe today. Good to see you this morning. Corey, welcome back. Big Bees, Ari Stock Market, welcome back. ATL Russ, it's great to see you as always. Francis, good morning. Durkis, good morning. Pete, good morning. Jim, good morning. Valerie, good morning. John, good morning. And Zoo, good morning. Catherine, welcome back. Good morning. The sun did come up yet again here today. All right, folks, let's go ahead. Austin, good morning. Let's go ahead and get started with the stock market today. All right, S&P futures, actually futures across the board, green today. Slightly green, but green nonetheless. S&P futures up 0.2 here today. Dow futures up 0.14%, and the NASDAQ leading the way higher up 0.3. Now let's take a look at some cues from last session. Sectors that gained and lost on Wednesday reflected a divergent market as energy and information technology stocks bucked the overall trend to close higher. Most other sectors on the S&P 500 finished in the red, with consumer discretionary, healthcare, and consumer staples recording the biggest losses. This split performance led to a mixed close for U.S. stocks, with the S&P 500 surging to new highs, while the Dow index fell more than 200 points. The positive sentiment was driven by wholesale price data as the producers' price index slipped 0.1 in August, contrary to expectations of a 0.3 increase. Wholesale inflation also slowed sharply on an annual basis, declining from 3.3% to 2.6%. AI-linked stocks rallied. Stop me if you've heard that before. AI stocks rallied, fueled by investor optimism that artificial intelligence will boost earnings growth after Oracle announced a massive backlog of AI-related orders. In contrast, shares of Chewy tumbled by around 17% on Wednesday following the company's release of its second quarter results. Now, today, U.S. futures were rising this morning, but we, of course, wait the CPI. Economists forecast that the August Consumer Price Index will show headline inflation climbing to 2.9% year over year, up from 2.7% in July. If confirmed, that would be the highest annual pace since January of 2025. Thursday's sentiment was driven by wholesale price data as the PPI index slipped 1/10 in August, contrary to the 3/10 expectation. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.05% and the 2-year bond was 3.55%. Producer. All right, we're actually going to dive back in to the chart. We're going to take a look at the SPY as we normally do. Here we go. So another new all-time high yesterday. That all-time high is going to represent one of our upside key levels here today. I have that at 654.80. And here in the pre-market, looks like we have a high just above 653.70. So that's going to be our key level to the upside. If we're able to break that, we are still taking a look at the 20-day moving average here. That's going to be 645.13. That's going to be one of our downside support areas. The other thing is that I think we could probably derive some support. We'll see if we end up moving down here today. I mean, I think the CPI is really going to kind of drive the ship here today. I think it was last month, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was last month where we got one print the first day. It was good. And I think it was actually the CPI first. Correct me if I'm wrong out there. I think we got the CPI first. It was good. Market reacted to it. And then we got the PPI the next day and the market had an opposite reaction to it. That's one of the things that I'm going to be watching for here today. Obviously, we had a good reaction yesterday. We sold off pretty much down to the pre-market lows yesterday throughout the course of the session. And then we drifted higher in the after hours and then higher again here in the pre-market, only slightly. So we'll see what the CPI does for the market here today and where it puts some of these indices. As a reminder, though, if we do start selling off or if we see some extended weakness here today, our goal should flip to looking for relative strength for possible intraday trades. And I don't just mean, the small crazy stocks that we've been looking at here this week. I mean, anything. You should be able to find relative strength out there if the market is in fact selling off here. Shanir, good morning. Victor, good morning. Sam Bellinati, good morning. Jay Grant, good morning. Yassine, it's good to see you again. Joseph, good morning. Ryan, good morning. Van Wemmel, good morning. And anyone else that I may have missed out there, like Shmita, good morning. It's good to see all of you folks here. So this is kind of what I'm looking at here on the SPY. We'll see. Really, I'm going to formulate any plan that I have today after we get the CPI print. So for these next 22 minutes, I've got no trades on, obviously, and I'm just kind of waiting out that data print. We'll go from there. GB Slice, Ibu Boy, good morning. Thanks for joining us here today. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some insights from analysts here. Investors await the CPI report. Investment bank Goldman Sachs has projected that the inflation continued its upward climb in August, further complicating the Federal Reserve's upcoming interest rate decision. Economists at Goldman Sachs anticipate a 0.37% month-over-month increase in the headline CPI, which would push the year-over-year inflation rate to 2.9%. This forecast, slightly above Wall Street's consensus of 0.3, comes as consumers and businesses grapple with prices that have been steadily rising since April, when President Trump's tariffs began to take effect. The bank also projects a significant rise in core CPI, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, forecasting a 0.36% monthly increase, bringing the annual rate to 3.13%. In a research note, Goldman Sachs economist attributed the expected price surge to several factors: a 1.2% jump in used car prices driven by higher auction values and fewer new car incentives, a 0.4% increase in car insurance premiums, a 3% rise in airline ticket prices, and higher prices for goods in tariff-affected sectors like communication, household furnishings, and recreation. This outlook is largely shared by other financial institutions, with Bank of America also forecasting a 2.9% annual inflation rate, aligning with the broader Wall Street consensus. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve began its easing cycle as early as next week. Analysts are pointing for a staggering $7.4 trillion in money market funds as potential fuel for the next wave of stock market gains. There's a chart in here to go over. If you guys want to grab that, I'll go ahead and throw this here in the chat for any of you to go through. The massive cash reserve or dry powder has grown even as equities rallied, an unusual trend driven by higher interest rates that made cash an attractive asset. According to a new note from LPL Research, impending rate cuts could reverse this flow. The firm stated that a resumption of the monetary policy easing cycle, quote, could also provide additional longer-term tailwinds for equity markets, end quote. LPL suggests that as the Fed lowers rates, the appeal of money market funds will diminish, potentially prompting investors to redeploy capital into stocks. We'll see if we end up getting that there. Kind of feels like we might. This shift is seen as a key catalyst for extending the current rally. Despite risks of intermittent volatility, LPL Research concludes that the fundamental outlook remains strong, asserting the, quote, the bull market will likely has more left in the tank, end quote. The firm expects the powerful AI investment cycle and steady economic growth to provide continued support to U.S. equities. All right, let's go to the next story here. One surprise inflation number could change the Fed's next move. A sharper than expected drop in U.S. producer prices is bolstering expectations for rate cuts. But with Wednesday's consumer price index on deck, investors will need to brace for a potentially stickier inflation picture. Economists forecast that the August consumer price index will show headline inflation climbing to 2.9% year over year, up from 2.7% in July. If confirmed, that would be the highest annual pace since January of 2025. The core inflation rate, which strips out volatile food and energy prices, is expected to remain steady at 3.1, indicating that underlying price pressure remain well above the Fed's acceptable target. The softer than expected August producers price index has strengthened market conviction in the Federal Reserve that the Federal Reserve will be in cutting rates next week. I totally agree with this. I think we're definitely getting a 25 bips cut next week when the Fed has its decision. I know there's been some talk about a 50 bips cut, but honestly, I don't really think that that's on the table yet. I think that's just speculation and kind of talk amongst market participants. I got to think that they go with a 25 bips cut. The headline PPI declined 0.1 month over month, defying expectations for a 0.3 rise. The annual rate cooled to 2.6%, well below the forecasted 3.3%. Core PPI also fell 0.1 monthly, with the annual rate dropping, the annual reading dropping from 3.4 to 2.8%. Quote, this below forecast and bullish PPI report confirms our view that the FOMC will cut rates by at least 25 basis points next week. That's Larry Tantarelli, chief technical strategist at Blue Chip Daily Trend Report. Quote, in our view, a 50 bips cut would be more effective, but that's not priced in yet. So we'll see. Like I said, there's some talk out there. I'm just not there yet. I really think we're at the 25 bips cut here. According to the CME Fed Watch tool, traders assign an 89.8% probability to a 25 basis point cut at next Wednesday's meeting, with just 10.2% odds of a larger half-point move. At Goldman Sachs, economist Jessica Rindels is forecasting a hotter than expected CPI index for August, projecting a 0.36% increase in core inflation, slightly above the consensus of 0.3. This would bring the year-over-year core rate to 3.13%. Rindels sees used car prices jumping 1.2%, citing a rise in auction prices, while new cars likely climbed 0.2 due to a stop in dealer incentives. Car insurance is another area of upward pressure. I feel that, believe me, with premiums up to an estimated 0.4 amid higher repair and litigation costs. Airfares are expected to have surged by 3%, lifted by seasonal distortions and pickup in travel activity. In addition, tariffs appear to be gradually pushing up prices in several categories, particularly household goods, apparels, and electronics. I will say I actually just repurchased a television to replace one that just kind of went bad on me. And I got a very comparable TV, same size to the one that I got before. It's just the newer, more updated model. And it was far cheaper than when I think the TV that I bought last time was in 2019. I got a much better deal on a comparable product that's current recently. So I know that's just anecdotal, but there you have it. At Bank of America, economist Stephen Junot is also forecasting a 0.3 monthly increase in both headline and core CPI, with the annual core rate holding steady at 3.1%. He attributes much of the August price pressure to firm non-housing services and continued to pass through on tariffs on goods. Juno expects core goods inflation to remain positive, with categories like furnishings, apparel, and recreation continuing to absorb tariff-related costs. On the services side, the economist sees airfares and lodging away from home climbing again, driven by summer travel and mean reversion after several months of weakness. Juno warns that energy prices, which firmed in August, will likely keep headline inflation moving higher. Even so, he notes that the Fed's increasingly focused on core metrics and longer-term trends, not just the monthly swings. Wall Street surged to fresh all-time highs in early Wednesday trading ahead of Thursday's critical inflation report. All three major large-cap indexes reached new records, with the S&P 500 tracked by the Vanguard 500 ETF VOO, jumping 0.5% to 6450, bringing its year-to-date gains to 11%. A September rate cut was widely seen as locked in, but a hotter-than-expected CPI reading could put October and December rate cut expectations at risk. And I think this is probably the key sentence of this entire article. I think that, let's see what time. Okay, so we still got 14 minutes. I really think that if we do get a bad CPI print, a CPI print that does show higher inflation here today, I think it's going to have no impact on September. I think this hits it right on the head. The October and December cuts, which may be starting to get priced in or priced in already, I think that's where that's what's going to get affected. I don't think we see any change next week. Last month, non-farm payrolls rose by just 22,000, while the unemployment rate climbed to 4.3%. Adding to the concern, the Bureau of Labor Statistics on Tuesday revised down a staggering 911,000 jobs from the previously reported figures between April 2024 and March 2025. Let's take a look at, I got some news here on Open. And one of the reasons I wanted to cover this here is because this has obviously been I guess I should call it a popular stock. We've been looking at this pretty much every day, whether there's news or not. The trading in this has actually been pretty good as well. Here's what the chart looks like. Pretty good looking chart, to be honest, with everything else removed. Nice little trade up through moving averages, an impulse move, a pullback, and a hold of one of those averages, and then another move higher. And it looks like a breakout here. If we zoom out a little bit, let's maybe go to a weekly chart and zoom out a little bit. You can see what the bigger picture looks like and how, let's call it meteoric, the recent rise has been here. Now, Open Door stock rallies on new CEOs. Oops, I got to share the right screen. On new CEO, founder Reboy and Wu return to board and inject founder DNA. I'm going to do my best that I can with these names here. That's going to be fun. Open Door Technology stock climbed in Wednesday's extended sessions trading after companies announced that Kaz Najarian, the COO of Shopify, was appointed chief executive officer, and that co-founders Keith Reboy and Eric Wu are returning to the board of directors. Investors cheered the new CEO and return of co-founders Reboy and Wu. Reboy will assume the role of chairman of the board, and Eric Feder will continue his role as lead independent director. Reboy and Wu, who co-founded Open Door in 2013, will inject the founder DNA and energy at a pivotal moment for Open Door. They are passionate about our community, and we are excited to welcome them back to the board. It was from Federer there. Federer. Sorry, mind obviously still on tennis. Open Door stock rallied after two relatively quiet days as investors digested the leadership news. Quote, literally, there was only one choice for the job, Kaz. I'm thrilled that he will be serving as the CEO of Open Door. That came from Reboy. He is a decisive leader who has driven product innovation at scale, ruthlessly reduced G&A expenses to drive profitability, and deeply understands the potential for AI to radically reshape the company's entire operations. The future of home buying and selling is now in the chat. Actually, I kind of like that. John Ehrlichman, founder of TickerTake, posted a video on X of Eric Jackson moving his price target for Open Door to 500 in the next 5 years. Quote, if they pick a killer CEO, end quote. 500. I think that original price target when Jay Rice first told us about this thesis and then actually provided the link for us, I'm pretty sure that target was like 83. It was in the 80s. And even that at the time felt like, wow, this is a crazy price target for open. Now seems like maybe 500 in the cards. Quote, initially, Eric Jackson had a price target of 82. I guess I should have just kept reading there. I said 83. I was off by $1. Eric Jackson had a price target of 82 for Open Door. Now he sees a path to 500 per share. We spoke during his latest daily visit outside Drake's house. The price action here, right, according to Benzinga Pro, it rose 20% yesterday. Again, just kind of going back to the chart here. The WIM is what we just talked about. It's the new appointees there, but let's take a look at the intraday chart. Here you go. Here was the huge move that we had in the after hours. And actually, if we look at this chart, this is a pretty good formation, right? Impulse move up to about 850. It peaked above that level a little bit. Now we're coming back in. So far, we've held 750 and we're curling back up. So we'll be curious to see if this ends up pushing back up towards that 850 level. If you're looking for a trade on this, this is one of the things I'd be looking at. I would definitely stop out here. I wouldn't want to, let's put it this way. I would not want to be long if the price moves below 750. I think if it does that, you run the risk of this closing the gap down to a 6 handle. So as far as a new trade here today, I'd be looking to trade that against the pre-market lows of about 750. Okay. Let's go back to some more news here about small caps. This is something that I personally am definitely excited for. My own personal trading here, more swing and investing, and I really like finding new, fresh companies or I guess cheap companies that are doing a really good job and have really good growth. And if we get a move like this, this could be awesome for some of the longer term investments and swing moves or the wealth moves that I know a lot of us are looking for. Small cap stocks are flashing a compelling bullish signal, presenting a potential rally opportunity as earnings accelerate. Valuations remain attractive, and the market anticipates significant interest rate cuts. This confluence of factors, highlighted by data compiled from the LSEG Data and Analytics, Bloomberg, and Barclays research, and shared by ex-user Wall Street Jesus, suggests a fundamental shift that could challenge the longstanding dominance of mega cap stocks. Again, I welcome this with open arms. Let's rotate out of some of these mega cap stocks that have been in the limelight for so long and spread out across some of these smaller ones. I think that would be great for our trading and our investments. Recent data paints a robust picture for the small cap segment. Forward earnings growth for small cap companies has seen a sharp acceleration, with NTM the next 12 months earnings growth showing a significant upward trend, achieving 3.7% year to date. This growth is projected to continue, with small cap EPS growth expected to consistently outpace that of large caps, excluding technology, well into 2026. This story also has several charts in it and links out to X into those threads. So I'll go ahead and pop that right here in the chat for you. Small cap earnings, this outperformance was already evident in the second quarter, where small cap earnings per share growth surged by an impressive 12.1% year over year, despite sales declining by 5%, underscoring strong operating leverage. Moreover, the health of the small cap universe is improving, with the share of unprofitable names declining from recent highs, indicating a flight to quality within the segment. Beyond the earnings story, small cap valuations appear increasingly compelling. Despite recent gains, the premium for the Russell 2000 over the S&P 490, which excludes financials, in terms of EV over EBITDA, stands at a modest 3.7%. This figure is less than half of its 10-year median of 8.2%, suggesting that small caps are trading at a significant discount relative to their historic relationship with larger counterparts. This valuation gap offers a substantial margin of safety and potential upside as fundamentals improve. As far as the Fed rate cuts go, adding to the bullish outlook is a favorable macroeconomic environment, particularly the anticipated easing of monetary policy. Market participants are currently pricing in close to 3 cuts to the Fed funds rate by the end of 2025. There's also been thought of more cuts coming in 2026. This dovish shift by the Fed is a critical catalyst for small cap companies, which typically carry higher debt levels than their large cap counterparts. According to the data, the net debt over EBITDA for the Russell 2000 has consistently been higher than that of the S&P 500. Lower borrowing costs would directly reduce interest expenses, significantly boosting profitability and freeing up capital for investment and growth. The S&P 500 is more concentrated than ever, and this is something that our shows, both here, Happy Hour, and a lot of folks within the Benzinga community have been all over for a long, long time. This is something that we have pegged and we've wanted to see changed. The S&P 500 has reached an unprecedented level of concentration, with the top 10 stocks driving 54% of its market cap gains since January of 2021. As the concept of over-concentration in mega-cap technology stocks continues to percolate among investors, the improving fundamentals, attractive valuations, and impending tailwind from the interest rate cuts position small-cap stocks as a potentially lucrative area for investment. I'm going to pause right here because you folks were asking me about Ondas yesterday. Ondas, of course, had a $200 million offering in the pre-market yesterday, got absolutely smacked. I don't know if any of you folks saw that, but they actually released another PR later saying that the entire offering was bought and actually expanded and bought. Ondas actually clawed some of those losses back and was higher here again in the pre-market. So I think that just kind of, I know that's just one example, but I think that really kind of bolsters the thought here that there are folks looking for some of these smaller cap stocks. There is definitely a kind of a risk-on approach to some of this. And I do think that the interest rate cycle cutting, or the cutting cycle that we're about to see for interest rates, I think that does produce a pretty good tailwind for a lot of those stocks, Ondas in particular. The Russell 2000 index has gained 7.29% over the last month, 17.5% in the last 6 months, and 6.56% year to date, 13.03% year over year. The SPY, Qs, and IWM, respectively, ended in a mixed manner on Wednesday. So we'll see how it shakes out here today. Okay. And then here, Zach, regarding Ondas, thank you for this. The CIA dude said they'll make an announcement today regarding an initiative to strengthen resilience against drone-enabled attacks. And in addition to that, I suspect we're going to continue to see more of that. So like I said, I like where I'm at. I'm going to practice the J. Rice method of trimming often, but we are going to wait for substantially higher prices. At least I am at this point. We've already trimmed enough to protect the position, protect enough of my own capital. Now we're going to let this winter run and we're going to trim into that strength. Okay. Next, let's talk about MBIS, because this also obviously the whole AI angle. It's definitely front and center for a lot of the stuff that we're trading here. MBIS also did an offering yesterday. Let me actually get the stats on that. Right here, $2 billion in convertible senior notes, and they commenced an underwritten public offering of $1 billion of their Class A shares. Well, let's go back to the chart here real quick. Take a look at this intraday. Oop, got to zoom in a little bit. Sorry about that. Here's when we got that offering news. Sold off, then went green. Now, it did drift back a little bit, but really this is held. Now, it's lower here in the pre-market today, lower by 1.7%. So we'll see where Nebius actually ends up. If any of you folks are trading this, I'd like to know how you're trading this. Are you waiting for a specific level to go long? Are you playing maybe just a little bit of a regression back to the mean? MBIS has actually been a really, really good trader, not only for us, but the Story Trading Group has been on this too. This is of all of the trades of 2025, this one is probably the one where I'm like, can I please have my shares that I bought at $17.50? Can I please have them back? I would have definitely, while I didn't have a lot of it, I would have definitely, even so, I would have exited that a little bit differently if I had any indication that I thought that something like this was possible this quickly. So anyway, here's the story here. And yes, I know we're less than a minute away here. I will pause and actually go to that when we actually get, looks like we're getting it right now. Market did sell off there initially. Let me go back to Pro here And let me see what we got for that print. Actually, it looks like it initially sold off and it's bouncing here. US CPI year over year for August in line 2.9% versus the 2.9 estimate. US CPI month over month for August a little bit hot, 4/10 versus the 3/10 estimate. Remember, I think we just talked or we looked at the Goldman Sachs estimate. I think their estimate was 0.36, came in at 0.4 here. Core CPI month over month for August in line, 3/10 versus the 3/10 expected. And the U.S. initial jobless claims, 263,000 versus 235,000. The prior was revised from 237 to 236, so a little bit of a revision right there. Overall, I would classify this as in line. S&P 500 futures here ticking up now, up 0.32%, reversing the loss that we saw right at the start of the data print here. So this is moving higher here. Let me actually go back to the chart real quick because I'm seeing this on the futures chart. I want to see what it looks like here for SPY. Yep, bingo. We talked a little bit about the key level yesterday being this 654 and whatever the actual high value was here, 654.80. That level looks like it's going to get tested here today. We also had an impulse move in the pre-market that's not counted towards the all-time high. And actually, let me get the exact value for that. I don't even have to estimate. Let me highlight that candle right here. That high, that high is the 654.80. So it looks like we tested that again here. We'll see where we end up going here today. I expect this high to get tested. We'll see if we end up popping, breaking, and moving higher, or if that area represents a resistance point. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Nebius story here. Again, ticker NBIS. Nebius Group said on Thursday it priced a $1 billion offering of Class A ordinary shares at $92.50 per share with closing expected September 15th. Underwriters have a 30-day option to purchase up to an additional $150 million of stock. The Amsterdam-based company also priced $2.75 billion in convertible senior notes split between maturities in 2030 and 2032. The offerings are expected to raise nearly $3.7 billion in total proceeds. The company plans to use funds to expand data center capacity, secure land with reliable power access, and acquire more compute hardware. The remaining proceeds will go toward general corporate purposes. The debt raise includes a $1.375 billion of each 1% of notes due in 2030 and 2.75% notes due in 2032. Purchasers have the option to buy up to $412.5 million more in combined notes, underscoring strong demand for the security. The move follows a sharp rally in Nebius after the company unveiled a $17.4 billion contract with Microsoft that can actually be extended up to $19.5 billion to supply GPU infrastructure capacity for its new Vineyard, New Jersey data center over a 5-year period. The phased rollout runs through 2026 with options that could lift that value to $9.4 billion. Nebius said the agreement will generate cash flow to help fund related capex or capital expenditures, positioning the company as a critical infrastructure partner for large-scale AI projects and bolstering investor confidence in its long-term expansion. So again, I want to know if you're trading this, what's the outlook on this? S&P 500 futures, although they were ticking higher, reversed strongly here. They're actually down to flat now. S&P futures up 0.6%. So looks like we've got some volatility here this morning, and we'll check back in on that prior to the open here. And obviously, we will continue to watch all that stuff throughout the session here today. Now, I got a special treat for you here today. For those of you that have been joining us for a while, you might have remembered an interview that we did back in December at the end of last year for a company called Wave Power. And it is my pleasure to bring back CEO Ina Braverman here today. We're going to ask some more questions. This is for ticker WAVE. Let's go ahead and bring her on. Ina, good morning. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Look, your company had a pretty huge report yesterday. This is obviously, again, for ticker Wave here. new historic milestone launches the first ever U.S. wave energy project at the Port of Los Angeles. They successfully completed operational testing and lowers floaters into the water for the first time in a live exclusive broadcast by Good Morning America. Look, this is a historic project that marks the first onshore wave energy installation in the U.S., showcasing the EcoWave's power, patented, award-winning technology, and setting the stage for large-scale wave energy. Can you tell us about yesterday's announcement? This is historic.
Yes, so actually on Tuesday, on September 9th, we opened the first onshore wave energy installation in the United States. It is located in the port of Los Angeles. It's a historical moment because this enabled, first of all, the creation of regulation for wave energy specifically, which didn't exist before in the past for onshore wave energy. We worked with the Army Corps of Engineers, we worked with the port, and the lesson learned can be implemented in other ports where we can build commercial projects in the future. And also the importance of it is that legislation is being created around that project by the government of California. Governor Newsom signed Senate Bill 605, specifically dedicated to wave energy. And Congresswoman Annette Barragan, who was one of the speakers in our opening, is working to appropriate $1 billion in funding for wave energy. So it seems like the momentum for wave energy in the United States is now, which makes me very optimistic.
Okay, maybe not just the United States. You recently expanded your pipeline with projects in Europe and the United States. How do you see these developments translating into near-term revenue growth and long-term profitability?
So our next projects in the pipeline are a project in Taiwan that our partners just won the tender for the land for the project in Suao Port on the east side of Taiwan. In February, we also announced the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with Bharat Petroleum, which is a Fortune 500 governmentally owned Indian oil and gas company. Both will be purchasing turnkey projects, which will bring revenues to EcoWave Power. In the short term, our revenues will be mostly derived from pilots because we use pilots for penetration into markets. And in the near future, after that, we plan to move to work in BOO when we actually build, own and operate the installation, which is what we're planning to do for our first megawatt project, our largest to date project that is set to open in September 2026. So in 1 year in Portugal. So short term, we're going to be creating present relations through pilots, reinforcing our revenue stream. And longer term, we're going to start building larger scale profitable projects, which will enable a stable revenue stream for EcoWave Power.
Okay, that's absolutely awesome. The stuff you guys are doing here is cutting edge. I'm really excited to see how this plays out here. I went ahead and threw the stock chart up on the screen here. Actually, from someone that just looks at charts all day, this chart looks pretty great right now, to be quite honest. You've announced several high-profile partnerships. How important are these alliances in accelerating the adoption of your technology, and can we expect more announcements soon?
So I think it's extremely important for us to develop partnerships, and we do work in each project with strategic partners. So our Israeli Grid Connected project is in partnership with EDF Renewables. Electricité de France is the largest renewable energy developer in Europe and the official electrical company of France. The project in India we're doing with Fortune 500 Bharat Petroleum. The project here in the United States was co-funded by Shell. This is, of course, very known name. This is Energy Giants. And I think for a company like ours with an innovative technology, there is a big advantage to partner with this type of companies because of their global reach. So we can start small with them and then potentially expand to other locations where these companies are operating, which might be suitable for wave energy generation.
Okay, that actually sounds like a great plan there for growth as well. Look, one of the big questions that investors have in clean tech is its scalability. What makes your technology cost effective and scalable, and how do you see margins improving as you scale higher?
So we came up with a unique patented concept. We have actually 18 patents and patents pending for our technology that we don't go into the offshore. All of our competitors install floaters in the middle of the ocean, which was extremely expensive because you need ships and divers and underwater mooring and cables. EcoWave Power simply connects to existing man-made structures such as piers, breakwaters, jetties. So it saves a lot of the costs. We don't need any marine equipment to install. We have a patented storm protection mechanism. So while other projects that are just being connected in the middle of the ocean, break down a lot from the movement of the waves, and there's no way of saving it. EcoWave Power lifts the floater above the water level. It gets attached to the breakwater or to the structure and doesn't have any damage during storms. We're 100% environmentally friendly, since we don't the seabed, only to the man-made structures, and we're very easily connected to the national electrical grids, since usually breakwaters are located in ports. Ports are high consumers of energy, so you always have a nearby grid connection point. Now, although already we're cheaper than any other wave energy technology company, we want to be well in line also with solar and wind, which have started their commercialization much earlier. To do that, we're working on scaling the technology, because of course we will enjoy economies of scale when we reach a size of 20 megawatt, which is around 20,000 households, and not a very big installation. Our price per each 1 megawatt is expected to drop to as low as $1.5 million, with levelized cost of energy as low as $0.05. That's already very, very attractive prices in comparison with other renewables. And we're also planning R&D in the upcoming months, which will also be held here in Los Angeles, to reduce the cost of our floaters, because right now the floaters are 50% of the cost of the system, and we believe that we can decrease it by 25 to 30%, which will make a significant decrease in our capex.
Now, I understand decreasing the cost of the floaters. Is there also any way to make them perhaps, and maybe I'm not using the right word here, but perhaps more efficient as well?
Of course, because right now our floaters are made of steel. So when we're changing the materials of the floaters, for example, using carbon or other types of materials, which are usually used, let's say, by boats, then we can also make the floaters lighter. Lighter floaters also produce energy from lower waves, because you kind of want a contradiction. You want the floaters to be as big as possible, because the bigger the volume, the more energy you produce, but in the same time you want them to be as light as possible. So once you change into a material that enables that, we can start producing in much lower wave heights.
Okay, that's really incredible. Investors love visibility. Can you walk us through your current pipeline of projects and what milestones investors should be waiting for the next 6 to 12 months?
So right now we're working very hard with our Taiwanese partners to promote our project on the east side of Taiwan. I believe we will have the final approvals that are needed from the port there and can start construction soon. With Bharat Petroleum, we are waiting for them to issue a purchase order, which would happen by the end of this year, enabling us to deliver a pilot in a short time period. Up to 6 months it takes us to actually deliver the pilot once payment is made. And the Portuguese project, of course, which is one of our most exciting projects, because it's the first time that we're going out of the kind of pilot mode and the kilowatt size to real 1 megawatt, which is part of a 20 megawatt concession agreement that we signed with APDL in Porto. In the same time, we keep announcing new projects, which again really shows that the momentum for wave energy is growing, not only in the United States, but all over the world. We announced a few weeks ago that we signed a feasibility study for a port in South Africa. During the ceremony 2 days ago, our partners from South Africa said that they're planning to do a few more studies, including another port in South Africa and Kenya, since Africa really has a big shortage of electricity and they really want to implement this technology. And of course, we have some more exciting negotiations in the background, which I'm not allowed to share right now until they're finalized. But one of the most exciting things is that we're talking with several technological companies that need energy because of the AI industry, very large data centers, and wave energy can be a great solution for them as well.
Okay, awesome. Just on the same theme there of visibility, do you have any, or maybe you can or can't talk about this, can you talk about any plans to raise money via capital markets?
So I can't talk about it right now. I would say that EcoWave Power is very, very smart about its fundraising on the stock market. We don't tend to dilute our shareholders often. We went public in July 2021. The only time we came back to the market to raise money was in December 2024, so almost 4 years later. it's important to note that David Leb, the other co-founder of the company, and we hold together approximately 50% of all the company shares. So our interest is very, very much aligned with the interest of shareholders. So we really try to raise funds only when necessary for moving our projects forward and moving the company forward, and only at attractive stock price.
Okay, that I'll tell you what, that is absolutely phenomenal. When I'm looking for smaller companies here, generally one of the things I look for is that the people running the company are actually tied to the stock. That makes me feel better as an investor. I appreciate you sharing that here with our group. Lastly here, where do you see EcoWave Power 5 years from now? What's the big picture for investors who are looking at your company today at this stage?
So I think we will be achieving a very great milestone upon the opening of the Portuguese project, because it's the first larger scale project that EcoWave Power is doing. And we hope and believe that this milestone will lead to really kind of the market opening up, not for pilots anymore, but for commercialization of wave energy. And the things that are missing for like large scale global commercialization is also access to debt financing, meaning that these large projects can be built in parallel, so not one at a time with the strategic partners or grants or equity financing, which is the most expensive, but actually for this type of technology to get access to that financing, this will enable us to build multiple projects in parallel. So I hope that in a year from now, once the 1 megawatt is up and running and everybody can see that it runs efficiently and that we can produce more energy on a smaller footprint than solar and wind, that this would really attract government attention, financial attention, and that the company could really grow and build multiple projects in the same time, same as done by wind and solar.
Okay, that's awesome. Look, Ina, first of all, thank you again for your time here this morning. Congratulations to you and your team for the milestones that you're reaching here. I think that this is a really awesome project. I think it's very, very unique, and it's extremely interesting to me. I know I'm going to be rooting for you and your team. A couple of comments here from the chat. Carl saying, I'm going to get some shares here today. Great initiative, and I hope it works out for Wave. Also, the data center angle that you mentioned there, very, very interesting, very, very interesting, very, very timely. So really good stuff. And again, congrats to your team and good luck going forward here. Ina Braverman from EcoWave Power, I hope to talk to you again soon, and maybe we can share some more exciting announcements.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a great day there, folks. Awesome stuff here. We are going to continue to try to bring you new cutting edge things like this that you might not see in the overall daily flow. Very, very awesome of Ina to take time out of her day to come talk to us about that. And like I said at the beginning here, look at this chart, folks. You chartists out there that love charts, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Ryan says, I love the chart. I'll be honest with you. I kind of love the chart too. GB Slice says it needs volume to increase before it's a move higher. Indeed it does. And it's one of the reasons why I like bringing companies like this on. Again, big time shout out to Zoltan for getting that secured. So I too, James, am very impressed. Very, very impressed. So really, really cool stuff. We'll see how this plays out. And just a little bit of foreshadowing here. I suspect that that's not the last time we will talk to Miss Braverman. So really, really good stuff there. Okay, that is Wave. Folks, that does it, I think, for the news. I can't believe how well the timing has worked out here on everything. And literally, just as I say that, the ace of spades is pulled out of the shoe. Here comes 13. 13, good morning. How are you doing here today?
Hey, I'm doing good this morning. How's everybody in the chat? How are you this morning? Are you ready for some football?
I don't care much about football right now. A lot of other things going on, but I'll tell you what I do care about right now. We have a CPI print that we just got. The market actually was pretty volatile on it. Let me go back to the SPY chart here. Initially traded higher, then traded lower, and now it's bouncing. We're basically in the green by 0.17%. So we are basically unchanged here. I'm curious to see how this is going to kind of play out through the rest of the session here.
Yeah, it came in with pretty much in line with expectations. Market was looking for or anticipating a 0.3 rise, both in overall CPI and core CPI, but Overall CPI came in a little bit higher than estimates at 0.4, and I think that's probably the biggest reason for the decline that we ended up getting. But this is more or less within the estimates that was being anticipated. So if this goes nowhere today on this print, that wouldn't bother me. It would kind of make sense. This isn't not the print they were looking for, but it's also not the one they were hoping for either. So it's just kind of it is what it is. We'll just continue on with our day kind of print.
Okay, Ryan here says, I think momentum from yesterday will continue. Ryan, we'll have to see if that's the case here today. Sure. The one thing I will mention, like we did yesterday, we saw some stocks immediately respond. Rocket was one of them. This immediately responded. It actually went higher out of the open, pared back some of its gains throughout the rest of the day. But look, folks, the same thing is starting up here today. Maybe keep your eye on Rocket. I obviously have a longer term position here. Haven't really been day trading this, but this might be one of the movers on the back of this data print here today. All right. Good stuff there. Let's go ahead and do the movers. John, Smoked Tuna, Rooster, and anyone else that I might have missed. Welcome. Yeah.
I said, all right.
All right. We are rocking here today. Let's go ahead and take care of some of those movers.
Yep.
Dare I say it, but a little bit more tame than the last couple of sessions. Maybe those are famous last words. I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out. Yeah.
Can we go to Mogu first?
Absolutely, we can.
I think that one might still provide some moves here, even though it's starting to look like it rolls over. But I wanted to point out something here with MOGU. Well, first of all, this is a China pump. It's it just approved an allocation for 200 million for crypto, mostly Bitcoin companies out of the PRC. The thing that I wanted to point out with this is that I don't know if you can get it on your chart. I might have to send you one. But this there's a resistance area that goes back all the way to 2020, March 16th of 2020. Okay,
right cool. In here, you got it right on the head. 13
and 1056 is that resistance area that was put in from as I said March 16th, 2020, and then there was another time that was tested before it fell through that level. And I think it was in 2021, like August.
You said 1056, right? Did I get that number correct?
That's correct. So 1056, if you kind of like back out and you see how the prices reacted at that level, initially got support, and then when it lost, it has not been back there since. Almost reached that today. 972 is the high today. So that's going to be an important level to keep an eye on because that's the big resistance that I see. So from here, if it can get some support from VWAP because it's currently in decline and turn around and push up, that 1056 level, I think, is going to be the level we want to watch. I think that's going to be some pretty stiff resistance. We get through that, then we can start looking at other levels, but that's the big one for me.
Okay. Real good stuff there. Eric saying 20M, not 200 million. Let me actually go back and check. I have 20
Just
million.
20.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Really good stuff there. Let's take a look here. Sorry, I was just getting my bearings there. Pretty much negligible short interest on this name. 0.05% of the float shorted. We actually are due for a new reading here on the short interest pretty soon, so we'll see if that changes. 1 day to cover on this, and this, man, oh man. On average, when there's nothing going on here, Edward, I got you. On average, with nothing going on here, stock trades 16.8 thousand shares per day. That is nothing, folks. Most of you could trade just that on your own here. Today, we've traded 24.5 million. So you know what that means. Ed's already on it.
Oh, yeah.
Be careful because it could be a trap if you don't get out of this here today. So
this is a China pump. I mentioned that. This thing, if it sets up for a trade, sure, do what you want to do with it. But this is not one to stick around in. Absolutely not.
It's a trap.
That's right.
It's a trap.
Okay, so just be careful. Just be careful on this. Really good breakdown there, 13. We'll take a look at that 1056 level. Next one that I have here is going to be SLXN. This is one that we are familiar with. We have traded this before in the past, and it is on deck again here today. This is Selexion Therapeutic shares, and this was what? This was about $4.75 yesterday. Yeah, $4.50 yesterday. We'll say that closed at $448.5. Wow. This morning we traded up into a 29 handle on this. We do have some news here. Selexion Therapeutic reports positive preclinical data demonstrating SIL-204's reach and activity in major pancreatic cancer metastatic sites following systemic administration. 13, we've seen this a lot when it comes to different cancers here. Pancreatic cancer is definitely going to, if you have positive data for anything regarding pancreatic cancer treatment, you're going to have some positive results. That's what we're seeing here early. I guess the question is 180% legit? Where does it go next? We're obviously going to follow that throughout the course of the day here. Short interest, 4.03% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 74,000 shares. Still not a whole lot there. Today we've traded 4 million. Float on this, mega low float, under 1 million shares, 698,000. 13, what do you think here? SLXN.
Well, the important takeaway is that this is preclinical data, so this is very early along the whole clinical trial route that the drug has to take. But this is part of a dual route treatment, and the study there that this is primarily for is expected. It's on track to start in 2026, phase 2 and 3. So that's still going to be a ways out for one. It's going to take a lot of capital for two. I was in the middle of looking more into this one when it was my turn to come on, and at just under $3.5 million, I don't think they're going to have the cash in order to continue operations the way that they're trying to continue here. So I would expect there to be a capital raise at some point. Looks like they went through a reverse stock split back in August. So they're going through the motions that one company typically does in order to handle their share dilution, which is going to be coming. They're just going to reverse split, make their share structure smaller. So that's already out of the way. Share dilution is likely next. Don't exactly have a date on that. I didn't spend enough time looking, but it did seem like there were some Form S's that were out there. So read through one of those, you might get a better idea. But SLNX, this one certainly one to not only trade, but just be careful, because I think a capital raise is coming. This is trying to get back above its VWAP right now. I have $16.15 as the resistance area. If we can get back above VWAP. After that, we have 22 is the next level of resistance that I see. And if we want to draw a trend line, we can, but I didn't use that highest wick that goes up to 30. I kind of ignored that one and just went with the one before it.
The one at 25.5?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I drew it through the other wick that we got at about 820. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, because that aligned better with with the price action we're getting now. Because when I did it with the other one, it put the trend line underneath all this, and it didn't seem like that was really indicating anything to me. So just elected to ignore that really tall wick.
Okay. Great breakdown here. SLXN. One other thing to just add to that, you had mentioned that they did a reverse split back at the end of July this year. It is also worth noting they basically did one right around Thanksgiving of last year. So although it was last year, it was very, very close to the end of last year. They've done several. Of these. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else in here.
It has an S1 filing. I thought I saw that, but unfortunately, I didn't have time to read through it. So just keep that in mind, folks. This company is going to have to raise capital.
Yep. And this is it, right? You're going 2.15 million, price of 11.66.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is, because that's much earlier. That's like in January.
In January, yeah. Okay.
I think they've had one since.
Okay. I guess I should have looked at the date there. Good stuff there, though. Smoke tuna, as always, got it locked in. No matter what time it is and no matter what we're looking at, Smoke Tuna delivering the goods. We absolutely love that. Okay, moving on here. I've got VNCE as the next one. This is Vince Holdings. Vince Holdings shares, they actually reported earnings. So I know we have a lot of kind of crazy catalysts here, but this one a little bit more regular, if you will. Last night, in the after hours here, Vince Holdings Q2 adjusted EPS of 38 cents beat the 10-cent loss estimate. Big beat there. Sales of 73.24 million. That beat the estimate of 72.82 million. That is driving the stock higher, but the stock is higher by 130%. It popped in the after hours. It drifted higher all after hours. It popped again here in the pre-market twice. The second one on volume here. Now, it has pared back some of its gains, and it's beneath the VWAP currently, but it's made some pretty good move here so far. Let's take a look at the short interest on this. 2.12% of the float shorted. That comes with 3.78 days to cover. That comes on an average volume of just about 300,000 shares. Today, we've traded 42.2, and the float here is 3.8. So, 13, what do you think here on ticker VNCE?
I do apologize. I didn't have enough time to look at this one yet, but the earnings looks pretty good. I mean, what is this now? Their first positive earnings report. Are they profitable now? So that's some of the things I'd be looking at first here, which would be great if it's true. It appears that they also do have revenue. You said the float was 3.8 million. That's perfectly fine. One thing that I'm looking at here with their chart is that all morning and in the after hours, it's been kind of running and using the 65 EMA as support on the 5-minute. You see that there? So we're down here right now at the 65 EMA. Yep. I'd be looking for that support to kick in again, and let's get this price back over VWAP. If that happens, I'd be looking at 450 as the earliest spot of resistance. If you kind of draw a horizontal line there, you can see how the price action in the after hours and the pre-market has not been able to really get too many closes above there, but it did, and when it does, it didn't stay up there for too long. Currently have a high of 614. There is a bit of an uptrend here with the highs. If you want to end up drawing that, I don't know that we're going to see the price get back up here, but if let's just call this a target. If we can manage to recapture VWAP and that 450 level, that'll be the next spot I'd be looking for the price to go. And that would give us a new high that's higher than the pre-market.
Okay. Real good stuff. So I'm actually going to draw this trend line here as well. I drew the horizontal line, but let me actually draw the trend line from this high to this high. That gives us a target. Giddy up 13. We'll see what we get here today on this. Okay. Do you want me to just keep going down the list? I'm assuming TGL's on there, but maybe not.
Just keep going. And since I haven't had time to look at any of the other ones, I only looked at Mogu and SLXN. We'll just do it live.
Okay, there you go. That's how good 13 is. He says, F it, we'll just do it live.
Yeah.
We'll just do it live right there. Love the energy here. Okay, next on the list here is going to be TGI. This is, TGL, Tango Golf Lima. This is Treasure Global. This popped in the after hours yesterday, reported after the close, they regained NASDAQ compliance. So, of course, that popped the stock. Then we did pop again here in the pre-market. Had a little wavy price action to kind of tie the room or the show together here. A little bit of a wavy price action. We're beneath the VWAP right now, but we are making a return towards the VWAP there. Quick look around the horn on this one. 6.92% of the float shorted there with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume just shy of 1 million shares, 904,000. Today we've traded 38.5, more than 38.5 million. Float here is 3.8. What do you think on this one?
I would think that I just took a quick gander at their financials, and it seems okay. They don't have a whole lot of cash, but their income statements saying that they're kind of break even or just slightly profitable. So with their earnings report coming up in 12 days, I'd like to see how much that's improved. Unfortunately, we're looking to trade this today, so we're not going to be able to wait for that. But it seems like they are starting to go through some of those motions of not only the NASDAQ recompliance, but there could be a capital raise coming soon. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. It's just they're going through the motions. But when they're slightly profitable, it's like, well, maybe they don't, maybe they do. But of course, there are companies that are profitable that still will do capital raises if they want to get an infusion of cash real quick to advance their operations or make an acquisition. So I don't know if that's going to happen here. It looks like they have received a purchase order for 300,000 worth of GPUs. So likely we'll see that reflected in the next earnings report. And that's kind of the thing I was speaking on about why I want to see how much improvement they've had on their financial side. When they have headlines like this from August saying that they've been receiving purchase orders, I want to see how their business improves. So I don't have that fear that they're going to do that capital raise. But that aside, let's look at the technicals and see what we got. It looks like we have a bit of a trend line. The VWAP has been suppressing upward price action all morning. So if we can start closing multiple times, not just once, but multiple times above that VWAP, this might be able to start get going again here. We do have that 200 EMA on the 5-minute that hasn't been tested yet, but it looks like if the price gets close to that, it's like, oh no, we don't want any of that smoke. So it turns around as it approaches it, but that's going to be a support area. Still trying to hold above the 65 EMA, but I think that VWAP, once we get above that, that's going to be the real test of how high we go. And if you want to just do a real quick trend line from that 270 high through the high of at 8 o'clock, when I believe that's about when we got the CPI. I'm not sure if that's the reaction to it, but that's the trend line to watch for upon a break over VWAP.
Okay, I drew 2 trend lines here, and it makes
that's
a big
fine.
X. It makes a big X, but and I figured since I cut the big wick on the first trend line, I'd cut it on the second one, so I had a little bit of a different one. But I'm gonna stick with this. We'll see if these targets end up.
That's perfect. 2 targets to go for here, and no horizontal ones. But if you break over this trend line, we'll be looking at that upward trend line as resistance. Absolutely.
Okay, real good stuff. And just want to highlight this because we were breaking down TGL here. Guys, we already have a great call of the day. Smoke Tuna mentioning TRNR here. We can take a look at that in a little bit. This is making in fact, we're just going to do this right now, just because we were doing it live anyway, right? And it was called live here, like right in here, 450-ish. This is already made. Smoke Tuna, you just don't miss on these. Really good stuff. TRNR is your ticker. It's up 78% right now. This is interactive strength. Let's take a look and see what's going on this. Did have new news, literally 6 minutes old here. Interactive strength updates FAQs about increased guidance to $80 million pro forma revenue. Sports Tech and TRNR's $50 million digital asset treasury. Oh my. So this in the same theme that we're looking at here, it's popping. It's now coming back in a little bit, but still over the $5 handle. Quick look around the horn here. 4.58% of the float shorted with 1.53 days to cover. That comes on an average volume of 430,000 shares. Today we traded 1.38 million and we are gaining quickly. Float here 1.6 million. What do you think on this?
Where's the money coming from exactly?
The ether. They're just going to pull it right out of the ether.
Okay. Yeah, because that's the question I have here. I'm looking at their balance sheet. Don't see the cash that they're going to be using. I mean, they're guiding well, so that's great. I mean, this is the kind of thing you need to do when you report earnings. You need to have blow your socks off guidance, or else it's going to come back down. But the digital treasury asset, where's the money coming from? You know what? I'm not going to even worry about it because this thing's probably going to go on a bit of a run, even on an announcement of that, as Mogu is, because they're not they don't have the cash in the bank either. They just approved it. So let's just go to the technicals on TRNR because I don't have an answer for you on the financial side.
Yeah. Okay. Really quickly here. I was making a joke, guys. So Quantum says out of Ethereum. LOL. Thinking about it says they're invested in ETH. No, guys, the Ether. They're pulling it out of nowhere. I was trying to make a joke. I guess
I got it.
Maybe I know you did, but maybe I shouldn't do that anymore since we often talk about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Maybe I should be a little bit more clear there. Thinking about it. Good sense of humor, though, so I totally understand. Anyway, really good breakdown there. TRNR. One more thing here. JL says TRNR will drop like a rock. It always does. Quick look here. Oops, let me reset that because otherwise we can't really see anything. And then we turn off some of these lines. You can see here in the past, when this thing pops pretty big, it does, in fact, come in shortly after. So something else to keep in mind there. What were you going to say? I think I ran you over there.
I was just going to point out a couple of levels to keep an eye on. We're above one of them right now at 465. That's going to be support. If we lose that, we're going to be back into some consolidation from August. If we continue to move up here, the resistance level I think we'd want to keep an eye on is 555 to 560. That's going to be some resistance back from May. So if we get up into that area, we'll have to deal with some consolidation from July, but that's a May low. And I think that is going to be the next area of resistance that we're going to keep an eye on. And then after that, you have the 65 EMA on the daily chart. Those are the next three. Those are the next two areas I'd keep an eye on if we're going to get some more upside. But it looks like we're losing that 465 level right now.
Yep. Okay, good stuff there. What do we got next here? Did we do GRI?
I don't think we did.
No, GRI. The reason I asked that is because the list is actually changing as we're going here.
It is. I mean, I looked at the list that producer gave me today, and I was like, well, none of these are, or not all of these are on here anymore. So let's go with what's on top.
Oh, good stuff there. Also, really quickly here, Pete, we will cover CNC and UNH here. I know we're focusing a lot on some of these movers. They've been hot recently, so that's why. Sit tight, though. We will cover this prior to the open. I'll make sure I save enough time. We have 21 minutes. We should be in good shape. All right, back to GRI here. This is GRI Bio. GRI Bio shares are trading higher after the company announced interim 6-week lung function results from its ongoing phase 2A study evaluating GRI 0621 for the treatment of idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. So getting good phase 2A data there. This did pop above 350. It's come back in a little bit, not totally breaking down. And frankly, we are right near the VWAP. So still setting up for a potential VWAP recapture here, and then maybe a slight build above. We'll see if we get that. Taking a look at the short interest on this name, 2.01% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 168,000 shares. We traded 16.2 million here today. Float's 2.5. What do you think?
You know, when you get these announcements about something that happened in the middle of a phase, I kind of wonder about what's their angle here, because usually you get the much bigger portion of the information that's happening with these studies, and I'm not saying that this isn't, but to make this announcement and have the stock go, I feel like there is a reason for that. Like they wanted this to go higher just today for some reason. Because it seems like, this is pretty decent information, but it's part of an ongoing phase 2A study, and I just don't. I feel like there's a some underlying reason why they wanted to do this, and it's unsettling. I'm not sure. Maybe it's nothing, and I'm just kind of getting ahead of myself. But I feel like there's a reason for doing this, and I don't know that this is going to hang out here for too long, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Let's look at the technicals, because the financials wasn't really suggesting that they may need to do a capital raise soon. It looks like they've got a quarter or two left, so it's certainly going to have to happen. Maybe it happens today, and that's the reason why they're doing it. That's kind of what I'm thinking, but okay. I can't say for sure. So I'm kind of scratching my head a little bit about this. It's decent data, but I feel like there's an ulterior motive to announcing it. So we'll see if that's true or not. Let's look at the chart here and see what we got. It doesn't look like this is moving nearly as much as some of these other ones are. Sorry.
I mean, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but it's only up 60%.
Well, yeah, I mean, like it's not one of these massive 100% runners, and I think that's something maybe we should move on from. If it's not going to be one of these crazy movers that we're going to want to trade, then is this really something that we should be looking at? I don't know, but let's take a look and see what we got here. We're losing altitude. Right now.
We sure are.
It looks like 225 might be the next area of support that we're coming down to. So if we get some support around that area and it starts to turn around, the next thing that you're going to want to see is a recapture of that VWAP. I don't know what your value is on that, but mine's 275.
Okay, sorry, I'm just retweeting something there real fast. My VWAP 266, so close, in the same area, but not exactly the same. This thing coming back in looks like the 9 EMA. No, excuse me. Yes, 9 EMA is next here at 218.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a good one. Thinking about it, I am a little bit phased by this announcement.
Okay, I'm glad we got that out of the way. Okay, what do you want to do next here?
We can go to some of those more real company names if you want to start looking at those. We've got 17 minutes left.
Yeah, let me just do a really quick run through for some of the ones that I recognize here. We don't really need to dive into them. I just want to set the table for everybody here. AMST, this is Amosite. We've traded this before. This popped up to 7, came all the way back in. The key takeaway on this one, we're still beneath the VWAP, and all 3 attempts to get above the VWAP have failed. So until that changes, I think the trend here is probably still low. NTWK, this is moving here. This was just mentioned by WIS. This had a nice little pop up to 8 and has now pulled back about 3 points. Let's see if there was news on this one. NetSol Technology signs a multi-million-dollar 5-year deal with Japanese auto finance firm in Australia for Transcend platform rollout. I don't think I know what that platform is. Nonetheless, pretty good PR here. Stocks holding higher by just about 22%. Short interest on this name, negligible, 0.14% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on a pretty pathetic average volume of 37,500 shares. Today we've done 1.2 million. Float on this one's 10. So we'll see if we get some action here. NTWK. The other ones that I really quickly wanted to mention, WLDS, wearable devices. This was one of the big movers yesterday, but look, same deal. That $10 level has come into play already again here today. We'll see if WLDS gives us a trade setup, but this is kind of on the back burner unless things change, at least for me. And then they had
an announcement for a direct registered offering for 1 million shares priced at $4 each. Did you catch that?
WLDS? No, sorry, I was just blowing through it. Here you go, though. Good stuff there. It looks like that got bought, huh?
I think it did. Let me see here. You got this not that long ago, it looks like. No, much earlier this morning. So it looks like that already affected the stock. And look at how low it went. It didn't even go down to 4, really. It kind of came close. I think 450 is the lowest print, but that got bought up. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see where this goes. Offering on the table. That brought the thing back. We'll see what we have there. All right. WFF. Tuna's mentioning this as being on watch. This did have a pop, came all the way back in. Don't see any fresh news on that. Wheeler Real Estate. This is another one that we've traded here a whole bunch. This popped in the after hours, popped again here twice today, but is still showing some weakness. No fresh news on Wheeler either. And I think that was it. As far as the list, Open Door, we kind of already talked about that a little bit. Okay. All right, let's move over to the big chart here. Let's take a look at some of those bigger stocks. We will start with the healthcare stocks that Pete wanted to take a look at, and then we'll do Micron, folks, because Micron is having a morning. So we'll take a look at that as well. I'm going to start here with UNH, and I'm going to start where we left off, frankly, on UNH. If we take a look at the daily chart here, we are in the gap, folks. And this is what we've been waiting for, really 2 things on an up move here with UNH. We've been waiting for this trend line to get broken. That got broken with some gusto here. Volume actually ramped after that. Now we've poked into the gap, and this gap doesn't fill to a 3. Let me see if I can get a more accurate reading on that. I had that at about 3. Oh, come on now. Come on, dude. You got to freeze on me right when I'm doing this. If this crashes. Okay. 377 and change on your gap fill. We're currently at 350 here. So if you think that gap's going to fill, there's definitely some more meat on the bone here. 13, you have anything here with the chart? Or Pete, did you want to elaborate a little bit? You had said CNC UNH, time to rotate. If you can't elaborate on that, I'd be grateful. 13, what do you think of the chart in the meantime?
It does look like UNH is setting up to fill that gap, but with the RSI being what it is, which is extended, I feel like if we do get that move up to fill the gap, we're going to get a pullback thereafter. Maybe it happens sooner, but the price has been on a pretty good recovery. It's getting a little extended. I'm not going to say it couldn't make one more move up to like 360 or maybe even higher. But I think if you're in this for the short term, that might be the end of the near term trade. If you're in this for the long run, then just sit back and wait for another good price to come along where you can add to your holdings. Maybe if this gets a rejection, we see it come down to 320. I'm not exactly sure where this comes down to once we start cooling off, but there's no denying that this has been on a bit of a run, and it's starting to get a little extended here. So just keep that in mind. If we continue to get some upside, it's going to just extend a little bit further, and it creates a risk of coming back in even more.
Yeah, and speaking of the run here, it actually and maybe being extended, we did have a couple of price target changes chase this, right? We had Bank of America. Actually, looks like we had two here. Oh no, excuse me. Bank of America also did it on Humana. Bank of America went from 325 to 350 as they chase this move higher here. We're at 350 right now. So again, Pete, let me know what rotation you're looking to do here in UNH. But it does look like we're on a possible gap fill here. Yeah.
SLNX just announced a public offering.
And 13, dude. Okay. First
That's
of all,
why it's taken.
Chewy absolutely loves that you keep our viewers safe here. Really good heads up mention. Did anyone else? I think you're first. With that mention on that. Really, really great stuff there.
Somebody mentioned that it had tanked, and I was like, it had knifed, and I was like, uh-oh. And then I saw the news. I was like, perfect.
Okay, let me go back to that here real quick. JL said, of course they did.
Of course they did. Yeah.
LOL. Let's go. All right. Here's CNC. We have a similar setup here. We don't necessarily have the same trend line break that we had before. But we are maybe trading up towards a potential gap here. 37.40 starts the gap. It fills at 54. So it looks like we're attacking some gaps here. Oh, Jared, I'm so sorry. Jared had mentioned here UNH stock that we were looking at recently. Ex-dividend on Monday. Yep. So that should take a little bit of a hit. We'll see if it gets bought back during the same day. But don't mention here, Jared. I meant to say that. I got sidetracked with the Chewy sound.
And real quick, Joseph, I was mentioning that UNH is extended in the sense that the VWAP is at a very high level. And that tends to indicate that the stock is kind of getting overbought. So there's going to be a point where it's going to come back in. That RSI has to come back in some more. But I'm kind of alluding to when that might happen. I thought it was going to be if we get a little more of a continued upside move, maybe this one more push up. That could be the thing that does it. But since it has come off the bottom, it's been on a pretty good run, and that's led to being in an overbought state. So. Yeah. Okay. No problem. I just wanted to make sure I made that clear. Okay. Cool.
Yep. All good. And I get where Joe's coming from here. This stock took a mass. I mean, it was $600 earlier this year. Mm-hmm. Okay. It was $600 earlier this year. It's $350 right now, and we're talking about it being extended. It is this way on an RSI basis. Yes. Really good stuff there. Okay.
And it was way oversold at one point too. So.
Okay. Good stuff there. Now, CNC, as we were also talking about, this looks like this is also attacking the gap here. Still haven't heard from Pete. Hope he's okay. But it seems to me like we're talking about maybe trading both of these for the gap fill. I'm guessing they are both in overbought territory. So here we go. Thanks, Ryan and 13. CNC, this is exactly what I was looking for, Pete. CNC is a better buy. It's still down over 40% this year after this morning's move. Finally crossed the 50-day. Indeed, that's the yellow line on the chart here yesterday, and obviously way above here today. I'm heavy since 27 on CNC. Nice. Pete, yeah, Chewy loves that. Chewy loves when our members print money here, so really good stuff.
He nailed the price getting out of that base back in July and August. Great trade. Really well. So your next big potential mover or next big potential spot for movement is this break over into the gap from July 2nd. I think that's what we're kind of getting at here.
Yeah, and yes, and I would ask here, just as kind of a follow-up, Pete, I would ask what kind of targets you have on this. Maybe this is maybe part of these shares are for a long-term investment. There is no target, but maybe some of this is the 200-day or the 100-day or the gap fill. Let me know if you have some targets.
Look to the left. I think you'll find them. There they are.
So in here. But there's still, I mean, you're right. These are very apparent from the chart. But right. Pete, still, nonetheless, let me know what the trade plan is here on this. Short-term, long-term investment, just a trade, all of that. And then really quickly here, there was something else that I wanted to address earlier, but we got all distracted with what was going on. So I'm going to scroll back and try to find it, and I'm going to try and talk and make sense while I'm scrolling back. Here we go. Smell saying, a question if you don't mind. There are days that make sense to stay longer and do more trading like yesterday. Any plans to run longer? So no, a couple of things that you have to know about us here at BZ. We are not Bloomberg. So we do not have our little special spots where we just go and do that. We all wear a lot of hats around here, which means the rest of our day cannot possibly be just watching the market. We also really want to expand our YouTube content here, and that requires a variety of different shows, interviews, and other programming there. So we do run longer in some cases when we can, but just understand that we actually have work schedules here around what we're doing on a regular basis. I don't know if I could sit at the computer all day and trade, but it would be awfully fun, especially with this group. Just know, no, we have a lot of other stuff to do. We're not just at the drop of a hat going to be able to stay longer, but in some cases we have, especially if there's programming after us that gets moved, altered, canceled, whatever it is. 13 and I are pretty much always willing to pick up the slack. I don't think 13 has said no to me one time when I've asked him to do that, not a single time. So we can't. We'd like to. We've got some other stuff. What we'll try to do in response to that, Smells, we'll try and maximize the time we do have together.
The next best thing is to just subscribe to Benzinga Pro and come hang out with us in our chat. I mean, we talk about this stuff all the time, and on Pro. And since we can't always be on stream, at least we can be on there and talk with you. So that's the next best thing.
Yeah, and here you go. That's a really good mention there, 13. I should have done that myself, but thankfully you're here to pick up the slack. In Benzinga Pro, we have a chat room that is dedicated to the happy hour group. It started that way. 13 is a moderator of this chat room. And if you're looking for all-day trading ideas, discussions, breakdowns, all of that stuff, you can find it in Benzinga Pro. There is a host of other chat rooms. Remember, we've talked about Anne Marie's quite a bit as well. Pete, thank you for the direct answer to my direct question here. It is a longer-term swing, hoping to get back to the 52 to 55 area within 6 to 8 months, shooting for 100% gain over time. I hope that you get that. That would be an absolute monster. This was a great entry. I remember the day that you were talking about this live when we do that. Just fantastic stuff. Appreciate you sharing your trading plan here on that. That's awesome. Okay.
Real quick, since we talked about it, Mogu, that's been on the recovery from VWAP. We're about to open in about 3.5 minutes here. It looks like the price is trying to make its way back up to that 972 high that it put in, and then after that, it's going to go for the 1056 level that we had drawn a line for. So keep an eye on MOGU. This thing looks like it really wants to try and get going here, even though it's starting to put in a little series of upper shadows here on these candles. It's remind me what the line was real quick, and I'll add it to my other chart here. 1056.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Let me just go plop that down here. 1054 settings, 56, bang. There is going to be our target. Okay, great stuff there. 13 Mogu is moving here. Several of you were asking about PFSA. We have enough time here. Just as a reminder here, just generally speaking, we're not going to cover penny stocks. Unless there's like a really good specific case here. As a reminder, when Ondas was a penny stock, I didn't really talk about it all that much, even though I still believed in that particular one. Generally speaking, we won't. We do have enough time here today. PFSA is Profusa. I'm not even sure how this is supposed to be said. Profusa shares are trading higher after the company announced the adoption of NVIDIA technology to power an AI-driven insight portal for continuous blockchain monitoring. Now, I'm not sure how great that's going to be, but the fact that this penny stock company is invoking NVIDIA's name in the PR here tells me that they're definitely trying to send this thing higher here, and it worked. It actually went from 28 cents to 80 cents. We've backed off quite a bit here, so if you're a penny player, this might be one that's on deck here, especially on a move back to VWAP. 6.71% of the float shorted here with 1 day to cover, and that comes on an average volume of 7 million shares. Today we've traded 86 million. Float on this is a little bit thicker than some of these, 24.3 million. So we'll see if this gets rolling here. I would check to see what kind of financials this thing has.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's
doesn't really cash flow a whole lot. I don't see a lot of money on the balance sheet at all.
No. So and this could be one that does a reverse split soon, because of they're a penny stock. Their share structure. What time do we have? Okay, we have a minute left. Their share structure is like almost it's over 24 million. On the float side, the outstanding shares is almost 34 million. They could do a 1 for 10 or a 1 for 5. I could see something like that happening, and then the next thing you know, they drop an offering. That's what I would think that comes next with this one.
Okay, good stuff. The whole 9 yards says, was there a BZ Pro happy hour Zoom yesterday? I logged in but didn't open. No, there wasn't. Full disclosure, the whole 9 yards, I just couldn't do it yesterday. Sorry. We will try and do that again here today. All right. See what else we have. I want to share something. We were just talking about some Benzinga Pro. Let me show you something here real quick. So we've seen some of these Bitcoin treasury strategy things take place recently, and we've seen just extremely huge moves from them. So I said to myself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have Pro try and capture some of this. Okay, I am going to have Pro capture some of this for me. So I set up a newsfeed and a details tool here and filtered by treasury and strategy. So it needs to include these things in the press release. And lo and behold, we did have one for BTCM here this morning, a sole purchase really early in the morning, and that did pop it. You had to be up early to capture it, but that's what's going on here with that one, and it likely will be in play here today. Let me go back to the main workspace. We'll take a look at everything that is going on.
All right, looks like we're getting a little bit of a move up in Mogu. It's above VWAP, but it's not the big move we're looking for. So we'll see if this can reach that 1056. Might need to come back in before it goes up. We'll see what ends up happening there. SLNX, after their offering, it's been trying to recover, but I think this might drop down to under 450 real quick before this starts to recover. We'll see. Not sure about that one. BMCE, that's kind of sideways. Not a real lot of movement out of the gate here with some of these.
No, there isn't. And actually, I'm seeing some pullback in some other names. Apple was at the lows, although it's bouncing. Tesla, new lows as that continues to pull. Let me throw that up on screen here. Ondas pulling back here a little bit. Interestingly enough, broader market trading higher here. S&P futures up 0.3 again. SPY near the highs here, 654.35.
Looks like LDI, Loan Depot, went all the way down.
Izzy was asking about that earlier. We didn't get to it. I'm sorry about that, Izzy. Here you go on LDI.
Yeah, it dropped all the way down to its 200 EMA and then reversed. Let's see if this can break over 370. That seems to be the big area that it's had the most trouble trying to get over in this pre-market session. So I think that's the resistance to watch for. A move over 370, this thing probably will start trading better.
Okay, sick. We'll see if we end up getting that here. Let's take a look around. GRI is curling. Throw that up on screen. Yes, it is. The whole 9 yards. Great spot here. That's actually curling off of that 15 EMA. See if we hit VWAP here. 20 cents away on that now. Is SLXN halted to the upside?
Yes,
it is.
Halted, yes.
Halted 663 to the upside. So here's what the chart looks like. That obviously you can't do anything with it right now. This thing got smoked after that offering that 13 literally called. By the way, we're clipping that and making a clip out of that. That was one of the better. That was one of the better calls I think I've ever seen there, especially like timing wise. Came pretty much all the way back in and is bouncing now. So I think the fact that it really kind of cleared out a lot of this like insane nonsense. I think this is actually good for a trade. I don't know if I want to buy something that just did that offering, but I don't know. I'm gonna watch this one. I actually like it more now that it's pretty much retraced the entire move.
I'm not convinced on this yet. It's still got a lot of EMAs to make its way back up through. This looks like it could be a bear flag as well. So how this responds out of the halt is going to determine whether or not this. I think this is going to go higher. I really feel like it needs to get a flush. It needs to be flushed out first, and then this thing can do whatever it wants. It can go higher, but I think a flush is coming in this one.
Okay. That Ondas pullback got bought. That's great. Rocket, new highs here. That is rocketing. Absolutely love that. Joe's asking about SNPS. So
GRI. Sorry. GRI.
Okay.
It's through its view up right now. Great call.
SNPS, this was down just massively, something like 40% or something like that.
And Lone Depot broke over 370. It's going higher. There's also a mention about RCAT rolling. We can look at that too. But
yeah, let me just finish up here. I'm
right.
sorry. I was trying to get it out here. Synopsis, this was down 35% the other day. Full disclosure here, I don't trade this. I actually know someone that used to work here. I'm going to spare you the personal story about everything, but I have a moral objection against this company. So I don't trade this here itself, but maybe we do get a little bit of a bounce here. That's what's going on. Also, I promised earlier that we would take a look at Micron. Here's why. Look at Micron here, up 9%. This thing just absolutely ripping. So pretty decent gap and go here if you were in Micron for a trade. We take a look at the daily chart here. It really becomes apparent on what this thing is doing. We are back up towards that 160. Let's see what happens if we take that out. Micron has been on a enormous run.
We were talking about how this could happen. Even Marcus Mayhem was saying that this could happen with this one. This is the AI angle. We also had a nice bull pennant set up as well. We just needed that break over 130, and now we're off. Coming up to the high from June last year. That's going to be what's this print here? Is that 140? I'm sorry, 157.41. It looks like that's what the high is. 157.54. I'm sorry. So that's going to be a resistance area. Whether or not we break out from that, I mean, totally possible. That could also be an area of resistance, especially with how high the RSI is right now. So if we get up to there, I would expect some pullback, but I don't think we're going to break completely down like we did last time in August of last year and go down to or get cut in half. I don't think that's going to happen this time.
Okay, Marcus, you are not getting ignored. You guys, we cannot get to every comment here. You're not being ignored, muted, shadow banned, any of that stuff. Marcus was mentioning QS earlier here. This is QuantumScape. This also had a pretty big fallout and is curling here. And it looks like maybe up to 965. Marcus, let me know what levels you have for this. I'd be happy to repeat those. This is running here today. CNC also moving. Brain says, good morning. Please discuss level of CNC. Bro, you might want to rewind the stream about 5 to 10 minutes because we literally covered the entire thing with an example trade that one of the chat members had here. We covered that for you.
Just kind of looking around here. GRI had a nice move up over VWAP, but it's since come back in, getting some support a little higher than the last candle was, but it seems to have some trouble getting over 285. And Lone Depot, this is continuing to go higher. 385 now. They've got a big seller in the way at 392. This is a great mention.
Yeah, Izzy's sharp. He's on top of that. That RCAT mention that I kind of pushed off for a little bit. That testing $10 here. LDI, you missed, boys. 13 doesn't miss, Izzy. He doesn't miss.
Oh, sure I miss. Sure I do.
David says, I have not posted yet, but great chat here. Welcome. Hopefully you post a lot more. Happy to have you here. Smoke Tuna mentioning LCFY. Let's take a look. Let's see if we've got a setup here. LCFY, $7 right now. I didn't see it on the scanner here. Interesting. So Tuna, it's actually pulled back at this level. You think this might re-challenge that 730, 740 area, LCFY? That's kind of interesting. 735, your intraday high print. This actually spread pretty good, too. Spread about 12, 13 cents here. Daily chart actually looks pretty interesting, Tuna.
Thanks for the mention, Jonathan Cooper, that on the 22% jump in that's Bitcoin output. So they're producing this. They're mining this. Hive, HIVE, is going on a run. It's been on a run, actually, but today, I think today is the day it happened. Yeah, it looks like we just got a golden cross. So that's nice. Now, this is pretty extended, too. So I would think that if this continues to go higher, like maybe at runs up into, the 350s, the 4 area, it probably will have to come back in because RSI is pretty up there right now. But this looks like we're going to be continuing higher with this one after we get a pullback. Looks like we had a big double bottom here from the bottoming from December of 22 and April of this year. So that could be a pretty good sign that this is looking to go higher. I think 4 is the next big resistance area. You've got some resistance in that 4 handle, and then after that, 575 seems to be the next big area. Yes, it is, Lambo.
Real quick, Marcus, if you're out there, what are those levels? We didn't forget about you, bud.
It is, Lambo. It is. It is. All right, let me go back to some of these movers here and see what's doing good. It looks like TRNR. Whoever said that this thing was going to drop was absolutely right. SLNX still halted. Mogu went beneath its VWAP, trying to recapture that. So it's kind of going sideways now between 6 and 8.5 for the time being. VNCE looks like that's starting to gain a little volume expansion, trying to recapture the 65 EMA right now.
All right, 13, I'm going to step away for just 1 sec here. I'll be right back.
All right. Smoke Tuna mentioning that VNCE maybe bottom candle. Let's look at that. VNCE. So, okay, so it's turning around right now. We did come close to that 200 EMA on the 5-minute, didn't quite touch it. The MACD starting to look like that momentum is swinging the other direction. Needs to get back above that 65 EMA. That seems to be the big area of resistance right now, and that's about like 265. Let's get back above that. We'll have to deal with VWAP afterwards, and then the 450 level. But this does look like it's turning around following that drop out of the gate there. So good mention. Let's see if we can get it back above the 65 EMA. That's the first thing I think that needs to happen. GRI, this looks like it's starting to lose its momentum, but it's also putting in a bit of an interesting pattern here. If it can recapture this VWAP right here and go on to move above 285, kind of like how it's doing right now, this would be potentially a breakout. I think that 285 is the level this price needs to get over, GRI, and then we can look towards the print of the pre-market high of 362. That would be the next level I'd be keeping an eye on if we get that move over 285 in GRI. What do you think? I mean, you're looking at this one too, Smoke Tuna. It's that 285 level. I think that's the spot. What is the sellers? You do have some sellers in the way. There's one at 275. Another, the 285 has sellers. Lots of selling in between 285 and 290 as well. This is a GRI that we're talking about here.
I clicked the wrong thing. Sorry.
Yeah, GRI, Dizzy.
Thank you, Marcus. There he is. I've got Q here. Let me take a look at this QS chart here real quick. I've got QS support at 775, 825, and 850. Resistance at 925, 10, and 1025. We are almost at resistance 1 then. Let me zoom out and see if we can find the rest of those. You had said 925, 10, and 1025. 925, I see that one. There's 10, I see that one, and then 1025 right above that. Okay, let's see. What are the chances you think we hit those other targets? So we already hit one of them, or we're real close to it.
Need to look and see what we got here on my chart. What was the next target you were looking for in QS?
10. So he had 925 and then 10 and 1025.
Yeah, I think that. Okay, so 925. I totally see that. The 10. So and then he wants. Okay, so the next after that, after 925, basically the bottom of this consolidation from earlier this week, he's looking at the top of the consolidation. And it's interesting too because that pattern right there looks like it was setting up to go higher, and then we just got this drop out of the gate yesterday, or I'm sorry, on Tuesday.
NASDAQ is pulling, but you know what? Is he the SPY pulling too? NASDAQ just pulling more. Dow still at the highs. Did we get tech news? Let me see it. Tesla's still pounding the lows. Amazon still lows. Izzy, is the Amazon pull that we are currently seeing buyable? Looks like yesterday's intraday low on this pull was what? 220, 229. We're at 229.83. Amazon possible long bounce play at 229? Let me know what you think.
SLNX halted to the downside now. I think out of the halt, we might get that flush I'm looking for. So we'll see if that's what happens with SLNX. But now it's halted.
SLXN.
I'm sorry, SLXN.
It's okay. It's okay. It happens. By the way, whatever Magic Tuna does, VNCE popping right off of his loading zone.
Yeah.
Right there.
Got to get back above that 65 EMA. But if we do VWAPs next, and that's going to be up at around 411. Oh, you got 411. Okay, still pretty close.
Oh my God, Tuna mentioning Proc. Didn't we talk about this like a week ago, Tuna?
Proc? Oh,
yeah,
PROK?
didn't he? Pro Kidney. Yes. Remember, I even mentioned this on the happy hour, and now here it goes. Tuna, dude.
It was one of the ones that we were looking at as potentially being one of these crazy junk mover names, right?
Yep, that's exactly right.
Interesting, because the market cap on this is much higher than what we were looking at. So is the float. Float almost 100 million. Market cap almost 300 million. Doesn't fit the parameters, but great call.
Did this have news or something? Let's see if there's anything fresh going on here with this.
Not today.
Nope. And actually yesterday, it was yesterday morning. So it's not even a carryover from the after hours.
LDI certainly looks like it's trying to set up to go higher.
Uh-oh. I'm actually going to try to refresh Pro here, see if I can get a little bit more snappiness back. Here's your LDI.
Yeah, it looks like it wants to make another move. It looks like it wants 4, you know? Looks like it's trying to get to 4.
Let me refresh Pro here. Ondas continuing to tap the highs here. Rocket did pull back after that initial pop up to 2180.
Yeah, and looks like TGL is starting to make a move after hitting the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. That's about where it bottomed in the pre-market too, down at 131. Yeah, 131. That was the pre-market low. That's the low that we just got in the regular session here. Now TGL is starting to move up. I think even Smoke Tuna was mentioning that this area down here around the 200 EMA was a loading zone.
Yeah, I was going to say that 231, perfect 200 EMA there.
Yep. So now this one, like the other one we were just looking at, I think it was LDI. I forget which one it was we were looking at, but it's got to get above the 65 EMA. This one too. Maybe it was VNCE. Yeah, VNCE. VNCE and TGL both have to get above their 65 EMAs, and they'll have their VWAPs to deal with next.
Okay, there we go. I actually have that 65 EMA, the same as the 15 EMA, same value there. That does represent a pretty important spot there. That's VNCE. That did pop and come back in, but it didn't break down yet. We'll see here. VNCE.
Yep.
That's pulling now.
Pro-K still moving higher. Just got a little bit of a pull after hitting 265.
Open also moving higher. We talked about 850 earlier being a spot there on open.
Mogu starting to get some volume here. Just went back over its VWAP. Let's see if this continues.
Okay, so this did take its VWAP and it's 65, right? Oh, it didn't quite get down at 65. It recaptured its 15. Okay. Mogu releasing the Jungle Book. Oh, you know what? Just Tuna and his sense of humor, which is just undefeated. Here's the trend line I think that we talked about earlier on Mogu. See if we end up getting back up to that.
I saw that some folks were mentioning Circle. That's up almost 12%, and it just hit 12%. They looks like they had some news yesterday. $247 price target. That's pretty much 2x. from where it's at. Levels in RCAT, yeah. Give me a second here. I'll give you some levels for that.
Here, it was CRCL, right? That was the one that you were just talking about there.
The one I was just talking about was CRCL, that circle. RCAT,
What a move!
We just blew through 10. This had a really nice setup, a nice bull flag setup. This is, let's see, we're in the 1050s now. Let me take a look at something here. Let me look and see where we are. Okay, so there's a bit of a trend line here with going on with RCAT on the daily chart. We're going to want to see the price get up to that, and it could end up breaking over this trend line. I'm sure you see that too, Ryan, if you're looking at a daily chart.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit behind you here. Let me bring up RCAT though.
To me, it looks like 12 is the spot. $12.
And the trend line came from the daily, right?
The daily, yep.
Yeah, I think I see it here, just jumping right off the page at me.
Yep. That's it. And if you look and see where that trend line goes with on today's candle, $12 looks like the spot.
Okay.
That's what I would think. Yeah, $12.
See if we get that there on RCAT.
All right. So it looks like PFSA had been sinking out of the gate, and it looks like it's trying to turn around now. This is a penny stock. I'm not sure why I would take this off here.
Yeah, it was moving earlier. It was mentioned by the chat, but it's really done what penny stocks do and disappointed a lot of people. Very much like me when I was a high school student.
LDI is turning around and trying to recapture 380. Looks like TGL also getting a little bit of volume here too, went up to its 65 EMA. This is where there's going to be the biggest resistance for the time being. Lots of sideways price action in the pre-market at this area too. We need to see a bigger volume expansion to get through all of this and make its way back up to the VWAP. TRNR finally finished some selling, but it's also got the task of having to recapture a lot of these EMAs, and it's got the 65 and the 200 all in the same area there. So going to need to see a big increase in volume for TRNR in order to get through this.
BTCM Bit Mining, which had a PR here about purchasing an additional 17,200 SOL for its treasury strategy. This has sold off from the open, but down to its 200 EMA. We'll see if it holds it here. That's BTCM. GRI getting mentioned here in the chat. GRI might be making a move back towards the VWAP, and Mogu knifed.
Mogu, well, it certainly pulled. I don't think we've got, maybe it knifed on a smaller time frame. That certainly looks like what happened here, but we popped up to like 8 and then came right back in, and now we're halted to the downside.
Man, this popped right to the trend line that you had me add and then got swatted.
Yeah, so areas of support that are probably coming up next are going to be 525 and then the 65 EMA down at 457.
Sorry, go ahead. Finish off.
That's it.
So I'm thinking about some of these stocks and how we can trade them. We've got a couple of questions about how do we know which one's good and which one's really going to run and this and that. And we don't really know that. I think one of the things that we should do from the trend lines that we're drawing here, like the way we incorporate this into our plan, is that, look, if you take the stock from lower, I think you should, no matter how many shares you have, you should be prepared to sell partial at the trend line, at the resistance area. That way you're at least buying on support or buying lower and then selling at resistance. And if you hold a little bit, you still have some exposure if it runs, and if it pulls back on you, you have a little bit of a buffer and perhaps you don't lose. I think that might just be the strategy here with some of these, like on GRI, for example. If you took it right here, I think your first sell spot should be at the VWAP, just because it might get rejected there. We've seen that a lot with VWAP and with some of the trend lines. I'm just thinking about how we can see and learn from what we see here on a regular basis. That's kind of the way I would think about it. Always trim the position to lock in gains. Born. That's exactly what you said it so much more succinctly than I did, Born.
And to your point, we don't completely know how well these are going to do. We just have targets and areas of resistance that we're seeing. But this is the reason why we use things like limit orders and stops.
That's right.
So that we, if we're wrong about what we're seeing here, that we're not losing any money, or we're limiting our losses.
Yeah, you definitely want to focus on limiting the losses. Once you hook the winner, it's going to be a lot easier to let that thing go. Smoke Tuna also reminding us it's always about the entry. Do not buy the top. Could not agree more. with my man Smoke Tuna.
And SLXN now open again, and it looks like it's going lower. I want to see I want to see some lows, lower, lows of the day, like down underneath 440, and I think it'd be great for SLXN, and then we could have that conversation about it turning around. But I think I need to see one more big move down beneath the pre-market lows.
All right, let me just follow up here.
Looks like still having a hard time with GRI getting above VWAP. Lone Depot, man, this is Wick City. Just all on the top and bottom everywhere. This thing is going to get lit like a candle at some point. If we can hold above VWAP, this might be able to push up higher, but volume needs to be better. The volume's just not great with these names today.
No, it isn't.
So just keep that in mind. We're probably going to have a hard time with some of these movers getting the price action we're looking for here. Vince is trying to go here. We're up to the 65 EMA right now.
VNCE. Let's see if we. There we go. Okay, so this is like we were just talking about, this at one of its resistance areas right here. Is he mentioning Rich Tech Robotics? Ooh, I just saw it on the scanner, but it disappeared. Let's take a look at that. Ooh, yes, this is booming. The Wi-Fi is booming. I hate that commercial. I can't believe I just said that. But anyway, Rich Tech Robotic trading higher here on volume.
Do you have your trend line out on this one? On your daily? You don't.
Not
trend line from January of this year through August of this year. Those are the two highs.
I have a different January trend line, but let me add this one.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at next.
There you go. Rich Tech Robotic. There is your trend line. Yep. There was GRI there that kind of stopped a little bit. This still looks like it might challenge that VWAP.
None of the movers that we're looking at. Okay, Mogu's open.
Yeah, it's not crazy.
Here we go. Mogu's looking like it's trying to get some support here. We'll see if this is a turnaround or not, because this was one of the areas where we kind of stopped on the impulse move, went back and forth before we went higher. So might be getting support from this area right here in MOGU. VNCE, this got rejected at the 65 EMA, just as TGL did. So I'm wondering if Vince Holding is going to do the same thing as TGL, get rejected at the 65 EMA, come back down towards the 200, find its footing, and then the next visit it pushes through.
Maze Therapeutics here, which did have news. I don't think we covered it. Maze Therapeutics shares are trading higher after the company reported clinical results from its phase 1 healthy volunteer study of MZE782. Company secured $150 million in an oversubscribed private placement. This actually back into its VWAP.
Mogu trying to recover here, making its way towards VWAP. That's looking pretty good. VNCE, even though it had a pull, it's looking like it's getting some support just above the 200 EMA. So maybe it is kind of following TGL's footsteps. We'll see if this continues. Yeah, that's the other thing, Smoke Tuna. If a price is hammering a particular level and it doesn't make that breakout or breakdown, it's probably going to go the other way.
At least in the near term, until it sets up and has the strength to retry that. Think about it like baseball, right? You strike out at your first at bat. You have to really wait until you come up to your next at bat before you have another opportunity. And it feels like that's what these stocks are doing here.
Yep. Cribis is saying GRI dries up into VWAP. He's flipped it twice. So the price action today kind of is illustrating that a little bit. We do have some prints above VWAP, but for the past 15 minutes, it hasn't been able to get above VWAP. And MACD is indicating that this may continue to go a little bit lower. And if that does, there's support coming at about 195, 190. SLXN just kind of going sideways right now. if it continues to go sideways, it's probably finding its footing. But I still would like to see a flush first.
See, the one thing I will say about the flush on this one, and this is just speculation, we got the flush from the offering, and when we rolled over here back to selling volume, which was a noticeable increase, we didn't take out that low yet. So until that happens, if you want to trade this, I still think you can against this low. I'm not saying it, I'm not guaranteeing it's going to work. I'm just saying as far as a trade plan goes, this is what I'd be looking at. GRI trying to turn around here. No, it was.
It's still got to get above VWAP. There's a large seller at 245. And man, these big moves happen and they just suddenly stop. Like LDI, for example, that was trading underneath this VWAP. Then all of a sudden it shot back above it, and now it's up at the highs of the regular session. Seller in the way at 389. Looks like TRNR is still trying to recover here. It made its way through those EMAs. Now it has the task of trying to hold them. If we continue upwards in TRNR, I see resistance at 385.
Wheeler, while I don't trust it,
It's a trap.
we are moving above the 65 EMA right now. The next stop would be the VWAP, and it's 40 cents about higher than where the price is right now. So maybe a setup here in Wheeler. Market ripping. So that pull that we talked about earlier, Izzy, completely reversed, and this moving to the highs now.
All right.
One thing I want to mention here, this is something that I've kind of heard before. I don't really have data, but I'm going to share it with the group here. As far as the broader market goes, I don't think that my plan would ever be to short the market on September 11th. Just throwing it out there. And I think we're seeing a pretty nice pop here as well.
From what I was looking at yesterday, for the past 3 years, every single September 11th has been positive or has closed above the previous day's close. That's for the past 3 years. Now, I think going back even further, there was no September 11th prints because they happened on weekends.
Weekends, yeah.
But then I didn't look before that either.
Like I said, I didn't have data. I'm impressed with the amount of data that you have. Frankly, that was kind of an off the cuff thing. So that's really
curious.
impressive. Yeah.
I was curious. What happens on September 11th with the stock market?
Absolutely. And I'm just saying, my gut, don't short it on September 11th.
Yeah,
HAO, by the way, just kidding. HAO, ticker HAO. This has come off the 200 EMA. This now back at the VWAP there, 171. Watch for a break here. Born saying that XLF financials, which is something that we have been talking about recently, showing a breakout here.
LDI now approaching 4. That's the level we're looking for. It hits 395. Looks like TRNR is still trying to go here. GRI, that's continuing lower. I think the MACD is indicating that this is going to try and come down and test the 65 EMA.
Proc, tuna.
Oh, is that still going?
It is. It's at the highs here. 275, your high print there in PROC, P-R-O-K.
All right, let me see here. So that is the 50-day SMA that we're at right now, actually. 272 is a 50-day SMA. We're at 272. So maybe a little bit of backing off occurs here before it tries to push through it. There's also resistance at 3 for Pro-K.
Right. Looking to see if there's anything else going on that maybe we're missing. You guys shout it out if I'm missing one. I don't think so though.
LDI just tapped 4. I think Rocket is probably going to be looking pretty good along with this one. So Rocket, not really an inside day, even though the highs and lows of today are inside the high and low of yesterday, but it's not inside the real body. Looks like 22, next big area for Rocket. Here we go with LDI, now over 4. So this is now making new 52-week highs.
And GRI plunging now beneath or going right back down to the opening low there, about 210 GRI. And Izzy, you know what? When you earned it, buddy. You were on LDI from the pre-market.
Nice.
Pre-market. Shout out to our chat. You know what?
Nice.
Smash up the like for our chat for being awesome. We have people that have been here before, that are new, that have never chatted before, that are literally unprovoked giving you folks comments. Smash up the like for yourself and everyone else here.
Now with LDI, this is great breakout that we're having here. We're hitting some prices we haven't seen since 2022. But there is a 200-week EMA that we're coming up to. That's at 511. So if this rally that we're seeing here continues, I think $5 and a little bit higher at 511, that's going to be a big resistance area that we're coming up to. All right. Some slow movers, but still a pretty fantastic morning. Still pretty fantastic. GRI is not dead, says Smoked Tuna. So it's just taking a nap. If it's taking a nap, it'll be back later when it's got some rest and it's got some coffee. Yeah, that's probably the case too. It may have needed a flush. We did get a little bit of that. Let's see if this is going to turn around or not. Speaking of flushes, did we end up getting that one with SLXN? Not yet. It's kind of going sideways here. And if it continues to do this, this might be the base. It might be the base. Okay, so what are we looking at here? Wow, LDI 419 is the high. It looks like there's a seller in the way at 425. You are looking for that 515 resistance. We still are a good distance away from that, so we have about $1 before we reach that level. What else are we looking at here, folks?
I'm trying to see if there's anything else going on out here that I haven't caught yet. I don't see anything wild on the Twitter streets, except for Izzy tweeting that LDI boomed. Let's go, Izzy.
Getting asked about Resolve AI, RZLV.
Okay, let me pull that up here.
Look at the daily chart on that one. This thing has just been a gap and goer. And it looks like we're coming up to resistance at 8. And with an RSI at 90, I think if it hits 8, that's a pretty good exit. I mean, this thing is going to come back in pretty hard at some point. Don't know when that's going to happen. Maybe it's today, maybe it's tomorrow, but an RSI of 90. I don't know how much longer this upside is going to last, and I think 8 is going to be the level.
Okay.
Look at the daily on our RZLV. Yeah, back out a little bit. There you go.
Oh yeah, right into that consolidation. And you said 8, right?
Yep.
Boop, boop. I'm going to do this one more time, and then I won't do it again the rest of the day. Heyo. Ticker HAO.
Oh,
come on, Pro. Why do you have to leave me hanging out
dude.
like this?
Pro's like enough of your jokes, right?
Right at the VWAP here. Again, we'll see if we can actually break through this here.
Oh, yeah.
Tuna says, I'm exhausted of predicting too many winners. Can we get you a coffee or an energy drink? Because that's not allowed.
He's tired of winning.
Izzy, I love this. 5 for 5 and no trades on Amazon.
It's a brand new day.
A brand new day. Izzy's just out here getting it done.
What do you think of TGL here, Smoke Tuna? Because this, to me, looks like it's kind of trading into a bit of a descending triangle. I feel like if we lose this 200 EMA, it's going to be a pretty steep drop. Maybe first down to 125 and then a steep drop. I'm not sure about the way this looks right now. We need to see this thing turn around pretty soon, I think. TRNR still doing a whole bunch of nothing right now.
We got to answer a question here really quick, 13.
Sure. LDI, there's 425. Next seller that's in the way is at 432. Smoked, you're in GRI. CGL is too tired. It is looking a little sleepy, isn't it? SLXN, a little bit of green, but no volume yet. Mogu continues lower. Maybe it just wants that 65 EMA test first. Lumen is popping. LUMN. This is line. Let's see what Lumen's given us here today. Okay, so this has kind of been on the move out of the gate. We are kind of extended here a little bit, and it looks like a lot of upper shadows. This is kind of looking like it's going to roll over a little bit, but if it does, the area of support that I think I'd be keeping an eye on is around 638, 639. That's if it comes down from where it is right here. That's the support I see.
Okay, sorry, 13. I'm back. Oh, and look, Heyo popped and came back in. I was distracted and didn't trade that though.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot that looks particularly appealing right now.
Some great calls here from the group. A little bit of a slower day, and guess what? It didn't matter one bit. And this just goes to show you that if you're active and you keep coming back at this, you're going to have opportunities no matter what the day holds. Great call on PROC. Great call on LDI so far. 13, you're calling it the SLXN offering here. Just absolutely spectacular stuff here, folks.
For Joby,
market is absolutely pumping. I'm sorry for interrupting.
For Joby, because I know that's getting asked about or mentioned here. This having a nice morning on some news about an extended partnership with Uber. I would be looking at yesterday's price action for levels of resistance. It looks like the next one that we're going to be running into is going to be at about 1420. And then you got some pre-market levels after that from yesterday. So you got like 1430 and 1440 as areas as well. But I would just kind of lean on the price action from yesterday for the resistance and support areas. All right. I am not seeing too many good things.
No, not with the movers. The only thing that I'm really seeing, quote unquote, is the market just power move to the highs. And the Dow is actually leading the way, which is not normal. Dow's up 1%. SPY's up 0.5%, and the NASDAQ is up 0.5%.
Let's take a look at SPY today. So hold on a second, because this price action is making me think, oh, we're going to be looking at those ETF trades. It doesn't look like we got nearly the amount of extension we need for the TQQQ or the SQQQ trade to happen yet. But we can wait.
Okay.
Be patient.
In the meantime, so GRI might be popping again. Yep. That's shown a lot of pops and drops, but it's currently popping right now. Real quickly here, just to kind of address Jonathan Cooper, I will turn this, or Jonathan Cooper's question, lol. I will turn this over to you, 13, asking thoughts on the FIGR IPO. I didn't cover this morning, and I actually told the producer that I would, and then I forgot. And he's just such a class act. He didn't even zing me about it. Several IPOs here today. FIGR, Figure Technology Solutions, at price between 20 and 22. LBRX, which is LB Pharmaceuticals, priced between 14 and 16. And RGNT, Regentis Biomaterials, that price between 10 and 12. All of those set to IPO here today.
So my thought on FIGR is, how does the act that just went through Congress, help me out here with it. It was the cryptocurrency act that allowed the issuance of stable. What is it? Help me out here, folks. You know which one I'm talking about.
The Stablecoin Act, the one that Coin went, the one that Circle went ballistic off of, is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, the one where you need to have it backed by U.S. Treasuries. How does that factor into this company? The Genius Act. Thank you very much.
Genius Act. Yeah, thank you.
That's the one I'm referring to. So how does the Genius Act affect this? Because if it's substantial, well, then I think FIGR might have a really good, IPO. Could. Just something to think about. I don't know enough about FIGR.
Me either. Me either.
I only know that as a stablecoin issuer, and the Genius Act being, revolving around, the stable coins having to be backed by U.S. Treasuries. How is the Genius Act going to affect that? That's what the big question I would have. And that's my only thought on it. could if it's going to have a big impact, maybe it's going to be a good day for FIGR.
And real quick here, Jonathan, Bigab's, Kevin, and Ryan, y'all are geniuses. Just saying. Just saying. See if we've got anything here on open. Open hit 9 and pulled off that. Watch for this to maybe settle back towards 850. That actually might be a load zone. Tuna, I'd be curious to know what you think about a potential load zone here on open. I almost think 850 now support, and if it holds there, you might be able to start a swing long there.
Looks like we're getting a mention on WLDS. That's looking like this is trying to curl up and go higher. We're at a bit of a resistance area around 750. We can get through that. Looks like 8's next. We've got like dollar increments of where all the resistance levels are. So 8, 9, 10. And we didn't quite, I think we maybe just barely touched 11 yesterday. No, we went as high as 1091. So yeah, 11 would be next. All right. Man, looks like a lot of stuff is pulling. A lot of stuff is pulling across this market here. Open, careful, little flush. Okay.
They actually just pulled back to 865. We're right back on to 9 there.
I don't feel like AMD is going to be sitting in the corner sulking for too long, Joseph. I don't think that's going to be the case for them for too long. Yeah, nothing with a real decent looking setup at the moment. We need to see some of these names start to turn around. Tesla 370 is the target. Look at Tesla, see what that's doing today, because I know that they got some pretty ugly news out of California. California is going to have to end their Clean Air Act or clean air vehicle incentives, like no sticker that allows you to travel in the high occupancy lane. So the thought is, well, that's going to kind of deter people away from buying clean energy vehicles like EVs. So it's not just Tesla; it's pretty much EVs in general that are going to get hit by that news, I thought.
What if we just kind of thinking out of the box here? We just talked to Ina Braverman this morning regarding the wave energy generation technology. What if they were able to really maximize that technology, make it extremely efficient, and then equip it to boats? So that you could have EV boats that powered themselves by the surf and the waves that they were in. That would be something.
This is a there's a company that makes a device that you attach to the ocean floor, and it uses the currents to generate electricity. Is that what it does?
Yeah, it's ticker WAVE, WAVE. They recently had a huge milestone where they launched their floaters in the Port of Los Angeles. So we had her on to talk about that here this morning. It was phenomenal. Okay,
yeah, I've been hearing and seeing that kind of technology for decades now as a proposal, but if this is being actually done now, that's great. Another form of hydropower that is underutilized.
Right. Sorry, really quickly, RCAT here. While the volume is compressing and lower, we are still near the highs, and we look to maybe retest that high. Watch for an expansion of volume or a volume pop to take it through that level.
Izzy, LDI, it might be getting support here now at the $4 level. It's certainly possible, but volume's not looking great to me. If we continue lower, we need to see that VWAP hold up. I don't know if this is a buy here or not. It looks like it could continue to go up, but I'm not really particularly thrilled about the volume at the moment.
WLDS, this struggling with its VWAP, but it did come off of that bottom that we talked about. This spent the entire pre-market giving that move back here. Held the area and is trading back up to the VWAP. Can't take it out yet, though.
TGL with some movement here, going back up to the 65 EMA. This might be getting ready to push up over the 65 EMA, the trend line, and up to VWAP. Need to see this volume continue to expand, though, or else it's not going to do that.
Okay. Hey-oh, knife. The whole 9 yards. That is trading back in. I can't help it. I see the ticker, and it just happens in my brain. I can't even help it.
Looks like TRNR is finally getting some support from the VWAP. It wants to try and recapture some of those EMAs. SLXN still sideways. How about that? Mogu still making its way towards the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. And it looks like LDI is starting to push back up after getting support from 4. I've got a seller in the way at 420. And like I said, the volume is still questionable at best. Need to see this expand some more. Maybe it does expand in order to take out that seller at 420, but that's what we need to see here in LDI, in my opinion. We need to see more volume.
Ray says, Ryan announcing HAO reminds me of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That wasn't one of my favorite shows, but that has an extremely huge following. I'm just going to go ahead and take that as a compliment, to be quite honest with you. Smoke Tuna saying PROC, which we took a look at earlier, can go to 354. See if we can do that. Smash up the like for Smoke Tuna and all of the help that he gives us here every single day.
354 in Pro K. Okay, so we're looking at going to the high from August 4th. I think is what he's referring to. I see that as a resistance area, 350, certainly a resistance area. I think you're going to see resistance a little bit earlier than that too at 3. The 350 is certainly a spot, absolutely. Air is up there, apparently, according to WIS and Market Sniper, AIRE, now up 59%.
We've looked at this one before.
We have. This now up over the 200-day SMA. It filled the gap. Well, I'm sorry, no, it didn't fill a gap. That happened back in July. We're just moving over the 200-day SMA for the first time since March. And looks like there's going to be resistance coming up at 150 if this continues.
Tan H, that was one from yesterday. What's that doing? Is that coming back? That had kind of a rough day yesterday, didn't it? Yeah, this had a kind of a big knife down. It's holding this area. I'd still be careful on this one. Born, take care of yourself.
Take care, Born.
We love you, Born. We love everything that you do for us and for the country. You're a great person.
So Tan H, this one moved all the way up to where there was some resistance from earlier this year in March, and it came right back in. So if this is going to provide a move again today, that's the same area I'd be looking at. It's going to be about 255. That's the resistance area I see here for TANH.
TGL. C saying that we have a big deal coming with Taiwan. That's all the information I have. TGL,
it's still trying to push up here. We're getting a MACD crossing. We're getting a push through the trend line. We're getting a move up towards the VWAP. Looks like 156 is going to be the VWAP resistance. You got some sellers there, not nearly as many as you do at 170. But this is starting to move here. This was a Smoke Tuna mention earlier.
Yep. Also, so Joe here, I'm gonna take this one. You think Rocket pumping prior to the probable quarter-point rate cut and takes a dive after the Fed meeting? Joe, I of course don't know what's going to happen, but I will give you a call on this. No, I don't think that happens. I think part of the story here in Rocket is the fact that investors know that we are approaching a rate cutting cycle, not just one, but several. So maybe on the day of the rate cut, there's a little bit of a sell the news there, but the thesis here, I think it's intact. And I think any pullback that you get on a sell the news event might also be viable. I am suspecting that there should be more ahead of this. Also, one thing on this, don't forget, this is one of those stocks with extremely high short interest. And recently it's ticked up. Look, so this morning we didn't have it. Now we do. We have a new effective date for all the short interest here, September 10th. And you can see Rocket here actually ticked up by about 2.5%.
I think I'll take the other side of that for this reason.
Okay.
I think that the recent economic data we've been seeing is well, I think we have evidence of this. It's starting to price in to the market a 50 basis point rate cut. Now, I think that every stock that's affected by rates could effectively come back in if we don't get that 50 basis point cut next week. I'm still thinking we get 25 basis point cut. And if we get that, I think that all of these names that are moving up on rate cut expectations will temporarily come back in. I still think we're getting more rate cuts later this year. I said September and December. I think the market's really expecting rate cuts consistently throughout for every FOMC meeting through the rest of the year. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. If any of the things that I just mentioned happen, I think we're going to see temporary pullbacks in these rate sensitive names.
Okay, there you go, Joe. You got person on both sides there.
Yeah.
How about that? RCAP broke the high. That's the second time it's done that here today, hasn't it? Let me pull up RCAP here real quick.
TRNR
yes.
is still coming back up towards 350. Looks like LDI is still hanging out above 4. Wants to take out that seller at 420. SLXN still sideways. Looks like Mogu is about to hit at 65 EMA on downside. CDW, this mover from yesterday, this is getting a little bit of a spike through VWAP. Vince Holding, this is turning around after hitting the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. Still has to get through the 9, 15, and 65 EMAs before it makes its way to VWAP. And TGL breaking out.
Okay. Treasure Global. Here's CNC, by the way. We talked about these here in the pre-market. CNC, this pulled a little bit here. And looks like it might be curling back up here. Izzy says, Ryan, how about stay away from Amazon? Hey, man, if you're doing 4 for 4 and 5 for 5 and you're not even looking at like your bread and butter stock, I mean, do it till it doesn't work anymore, right? That seems to be the case for me. UNH, by the way, this actually at the pre-market highs, UNH 350. Now we talked about 377 being the gap fill here, UNH. Tesla at the highs. Boy, Tesla, what a reversal.
WLDS is making some moves. It's above 8 now, looking for 9 next. Yeah, so TGL broke over our trend line, got rejected at VWAP. Now, if this comes back down towards a trend line where the 65 EMA is, we're going to want to see support, I think, at just under 150, like 148, 147. That's about where the 65 EMA is. That would be great. That would be a great support level. It would also make me more confident that TGL is going to be able to push higher over that VWAP. So here we are coming down to test that now. It's got to hold it. Got to hold it. We got 3, almost 4 minutes left in this candle, so we'll see what happens here. GRI still curling back up. Big seller at 230. VNCE
top of the list.
Sellers at 338 and 340. NOGU needs to hold this 65 EMA, or else I think it's going to be done for the morning. What's wrong with PLTR this morning? Well, PLTR had been on a massive run, so this is probably getting slapped down a little bit here. Let's look at the daily chart and see, because I see that we were talking about it coming in. So yesterday we did have a nice, day higher than the Tuesday. Moved back above its 20-day SMA. We're still holding above that, but the candle we got yesterday was a bit neutral, and it could indicate either a reversal or a continuation. So far today, it looks like a reversal, but here's some silver lining. If this comes back down some more, there's support at about 162.50. So keep that level out there on your chart just to see if we get any support from that.
And then Palantir, I think the question here was what's wrong with it? I would change that around and say to what's happening with it. We talked about this. It seems like there might be a little bit of a rotation out of some of the big cap, high flying tech names into some smaller cap names on the back of this rate cutting cycle that's being expected here by the market. And I think you might be seeing that here in Palantir.
TRNR still pushing up. If this continues to move higher, there's resistance coming at about 375. LDI about to looks like this is trying to break higher. We're approaching that seller at 420. So here it's got to happen here. We got to see that volume expand and take this seller out, or else we could reverse.
Izzy says, Ryan, risk on rate cuts. Totally agree, boss.
Yeah.
Smoke Tuna, Ryan, have you looked at MACD moves? Yes, actually, as you can see, I added it to the chart here that we use in regular trading, and I actually added it to the chart in my broker as well. One of the things that I realized is that if I have my chart set up a little bit differently, sometimes I look at one chart and then I skip over looking at the next one, and I miss some of that. So I'm actually trying to have some of my charts that I use on a regular basis for the purpose of day trading really kind of align with one another. And MACD was an add to that just because of our discussions. 13 comments on it all the time. So I'm going to try and fold that into some of the trades that we make here.
No, Jared, that's right. Out of AI and into financials ahead of rate cuts, you're going to get into some of these. So REITs probably going to do pretty well too. But certainly the financials, especially the regional banks. And let's see, there's maybe some other more beat up sectors as well. So look for the most underperforming sectors so far this year. Those might start to do better as well as we see rotation.
Log on, I think. I'm just going to call you Log or Log on. What software is this with your trader view? You are looking at Benzinga
It's
Pro
Logic
here?
One. It's Logic
One with Leet Speak. Sorry about that. You are looking at Benzinga Pro here. This is a financial news terminal. It's designed to level the playing field for retail investors. Think of it as, I hesitate to use this term, but it resonates with people. Think of it as a Bloomberg Light. You can also think of the price as being Bloomberg Light, with Bloomberg clocking in at $2,500 a month or whatever it is. This is not even close to that. But this is what the terminal is. I'm running a scanner, an unusual option activity flow, and a details tool here that allows me to look at key data for the different stocks that we pull up. And I have it focused here on the chart because that's the first thing that we're looking at. Good question, though. Link in the description below.
Izzy, add UWMC to that too. Yeah, that's going to be in the et cetera part. But yeah, add UWMC. This has been an awesome mover since we started the whole rate cut conversation. I was loading up on this in the low fours and under four, and now we're taking off. We hit 7 this morning, backed off from that, but I don't think this is finished. What's going on here? Looks like TGL still holding that 65 EMA for now, not above the VWAP yet though. TRNR had a pop up to that resistance area I mentioned, backed off a little bit from that. What else we got here? Looks like GRI is still trying to make its way through some of these smaller EMAs, the 9 and the 15. LDI knocking on that door of 420 still.
Still, yep.
So unless some Mogu might be reversing here. Might be getting a reversal in Mogu.
We've said that a few times. Let's see if that speeds up.
But this finally hit at 65.
No, you're right.
So this might now we need to see it get through those smaller EMAs and back up to VWAP. VWAP I have at 636. Things are not looking that strong right now. BMNR is moving, says Izzy.
ProK backed off its BMNR. Let's take a look at that. See if this can take out VWAP there, 4860. We're at 4840 right here.
Yep, Izzy, LDI did have a little bit of a pull there. We didn't get back down to the $4 level yet, but keep an eye on that MACD. It's starting to indicate that the momentum's starting to swing in the other direction. Nothing's for sure yet until we get that signal crossing. But right now, it looks like we're kind of going in a bit of a sideways consolidation with LDI, as long as it can hold 4. And GRI, waiting for this thing to make a move through some of these smaller EMAs up to VWAP. seller in the way at 230. We need to see a volume expansion here, or else this thing might be done as well. SLXN still sideways, although it looks like we might be getting our flush soon. We'll see if that ends up happening.
Okay, it sounds like we're also getting our clip soon of your amazing call. Let's go, giddy up.
Mogu is done for now, says Smoked Tuna. All right. I think if it can't get above 550, that's going to be the case. Wilds is up to 10.
WLDS. Okay, it's wearable devices.
All right. So let's go back to that, because I was talking about levels for that one earlier. Sure enough, we went right to 10 and backed off, because that, if you look at the pre-market, there was no closes above 10. That was a big resistance area. So far, the price action here in WLDS behaving very well to our liking.
Volume looking really good too, by the way. Yep,
we are getting a little bit high on the RSI, so I would anticipate some pulling here. There is going to be some support down at 9, and of course the $8 level. So let's see that if this does come back in a little bit, and we'll look at those levels at support. But if we get another visit up at 10 today, I have a good feeling that we might see prints higher than 10, maybe even get up to 11, like we were trying to do yesterday, and both in the pre-market and in the regular session. 11 is going to be the big spot to get to now, with 10 being the resistance level we need to break through now.
Open, any swing thoughts? I really think the swing time for open was probably past, at least the best entry. If you believe in the long thesis here, I would imagine that, yeah, it's probably still intact. But even in that case, I think I would wait for maybe a retest, even especially like just kind of looking at this, maybe a retest of the 7.5. So that's what I would guess. HIM asking if UNH reaches 360. I do think so at some point. Don't think it goes there today, but I do think we probably close that gap at some point. That gap closes at 377. So that would take your price.
Let's see here.
Yeah, and see, that's true. So Tuna here saying, when I introduced you to open via Tuna Signal, it was 58 cents. And this is kind of what I'm talking about, Tuna. I feel like the easy swing here is probably past, right? Just looking at the chart here, this is a massive, massive move. And I think prudence demands that if we're going to enter a swing, we probably want to focus on the entry, right? You were just saying earlier how entry is always going to be important. Well, in this case, we really want to see this flash an entry by pulling back here a little bit for a swing. Otherwise, scalping up to the highs, I mean, there's plenty of scalping going on here in open.
HIM, not the ticker, but the gentleman commenting here. I do like that 360 area in UNH. Looking back at the 2020 and 2021 price action around that area, you can see that 360 was a spot where the price was trying to close over, and it wasn't able to get multiple closes over that price until March of 2021. When we finally did break out, started closing multiple times above it, we ended up coming back down to test that as support before going even higher. I like that 360 area. So I think that you're right. If we do end up coming up to there, that's going to be a very, very interesting spot to watch for resistance. I don't know if we'll get it or if it's just going to break through, but 360 I think should be on everybody's radar that's going to be trading this or investing in it. Absolutely. That even could be the spot where we turn around. Look at how, as I was mentioning before, look at how extended we are with UNH. Maybe 360 is the spot. Maybe it is. All right. So TGL, interestingly, still holding above the 65 EMA. A little bit of a volume expansion. We can push through that VWAP. VNCE still holding above its 200 EMA. GRI inching higher, still beneath its VWAP. LDI going sideways still. Mogu moving off of that 65 EMA, albeit slowly. So be careful with Mogu. It's some of these that aren't providing a whole lot of volume might not be able to break through some of these resistance levels we've pointed out. Right now for Mogu, it's 550. So we need to see some expansion in volume to get through that level. SLXN Finally making the move down I've been waiting for. Not that I'm going to be trying to buy this or anything, but I was saying that I didn't think this was as low as we were going to go. Now we're back down to the lows of the pre-market and moving lower. I think this thing needs to go beneath the pre-market lows, probably down. It could even go down to as low as 3 before it finds some support. So SLXN, I'd wait for this this down move to finish. If you are going to trade this at all, I think there's better things you could put your money towards. But this one looks like we're still getting some lower prints. Master, hello. We did see AI already move today.
Yeah, and Izzy here saying news: Lutnick and Trump want mortgage rates lower. Did they say that? We've just kind of suspected that by kind of reading between the lines. I know Lutnick is on CNBC right now, so was that something that was said? Because I think that really just kind of confirms our thesis here, or maybe not even. Maybe it's already been confirmed. Just kind of adds to our thesis here of a longer play in some of these names. Rocket responding, new highs now. Yeah, he said it on CNBC. Okay, perfect.
All right. So, hey, LDI hasn't gone through 420 yet. Maybe they're next. Just saying. If Rocket's moving on that news, certainly some of these other ones should, I would think. UWMC looks like it's reacting a little bit.
Yep, no question. And I think that, the whole LDI trade that we've been doing, or that we've been looking at, excuse me, I think that factors into it as well. Barat asking on what percentage of volume are they going to halt open? It's a sliding scale. I would have to look it up. I would just look up what the different halt rules are and the thresholds, because depending on what the price of the stock is will depend on what like the range. I think it's 10% in like 5 minutes or so. I can't remember exactly what it is. Look that up, but that should give you an idea. And remember, it's constantly changing based on whatever the price is. So whatever that actual number is going to change frequently.
1 of 7 billion. That's fine. But the thing is the market's going to react to it, and that's what we want.
I completely disagree with that comment.
I don't think we really need to take anything he says seriously. I think all we need to do is just take what the market react to how the market takes it. That's really all that I care about. Is anything that these guys as politicians or anybody else says, how they affect the market is really all I care about.
And speaking of that, another leg higher here on the market, that is.
Looks like VNCE is starting to make its way back up towards that 65 EMA after being rejected by it all morning. TGL also moving up through its VWAP. This might get going here if we can get a little bit more volume expansion. Currently, the high of the session is $1.66. What else is looking good here?
Yeah, I was going to say, I was just about, literally it was on the tip of my tongue. I don't see any new setups at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
TGL, maybe if it moves through the VWAP here. Webcoin looks like they're on it, or he's on it here. Remember though, TGL today alone, twice in the pre-market and once in the regular session, there have been a volume pop in an attempt to clear that VWAP and hold above it, and it hasn't done that yet. So until the story changes here, we're pretty much in that now. 13, I know you talk about when these levels get hit multiple times, the more that happens without it breaking down and clearly changing its direction, the higher the likelihood that this gets taken out. That's what we're seeing here in TGL. I'd watch that level though, VWAP 161.
We want to see that volume match it too, because if volume starts to come in and continues to hammer that level and chew through all those sellers, then yeah, you're going to get that move. Right now I'm watching MOGU that's trying to do that very thing. It just got through 555. Let's see how much of a move this can continue. If we can't go much higher or get up to the VWAP, this could reverse on us. Don't want to see that happen, but we need to see a little bit more volume expansion out of MOGU right now.
And don't forget, we're going to have a possible trend line break set up if we get that, and also that move through VWAP. I think you're going to get the trend line break first, depending on when this happens, or if it happens, I should say. Goldman Sachs. God, Goldman Sachs. I'd said earlier here, can't remember if it was the happy hour or if it was on here. If you think that IPOs are going to be a prominent thing in 2026, one of the best plays that you could be long is Goldman Sachs. I would add Morgan Stanley to that, but Goldman Sachs I would put above it. Look at the breakout here we're seeing in ticker GS. And furthermore, this thing was $450 on the Liberation Day lows. It's 800 now. That's almost a double since April. Just massive move here, Goldman Sachs, ticker GS. Wow, I wish I had calls for that. Dizam. Riot. I feel like we haven't talked about Riot in a while. This at the highs. This actually had a pretty good day yesterday, a little bit more continuation today. What's Bitcoin doing? Just out of curiosity.
If we're going to talk about Riot, we can't leave out Mara and CLSK and all those other Bitcoin names that are blasts from the past. Mara is going on a bit of a run here, 1624, the current price. CleanSpark also moving up, trying to push further into the 10 handle, currently at 1039. Yeah, let's go Bitcoin names. What's Coin doing?
Bitcoin, by the way, 115 right now in the futures.
No,
it's beneath the morning high. No, I know. I was trying to get the Bitcoin price in there before.
Coin looks like, if this continues back up, then we have that 50-day SMA that's in the way, and then the 350 level right above it. This price action here with Coin, we just moved over and closed over for 2 times this week, the 20-day SMA. That was on Tuesday and Wednesday. So today would be a third close if we close above it. And there's a trend line here that also lines up with the 50 and the 350 area. That could be the spot. That could be the rejection area. Yeah, Hut, Hive, just all the
Bitcoin names. Yeah. Yep. Ondas highs. GRI might be curling. That actually might have put in a bottom there. It would be it would be this double bottom ish right in here, about $2.
Sorry, just kind of looking up some other stuff. Both wolves are up. The one with an O and the U.
And the U.
Yeah, they're both up today. Both wolves. As if we've had to make that distinction before. Which one? U or L? Or U or O? All right, here we go with LDI. Finally hammering that 420 seller. Looking for 425. That's the current high of the session. We need to see some volume expansion or we're coming back in. Really need to see this volume expand here with LDI. Why it's not doing it on the Lutnick comments beats me. I would have thought this would have had a better move. Maybe it's because it's already put one in today, but we'll see. What else do we got going on here? So the TQQQ is printing new highs of the session. Still not extended enough away from me on the SQQQ, although, what is this? No, that's nowhere near enough. Nowhere near enough.
Tara says, I'm not seeing the volume that I've seen the last few days, sadly. First of all, Tara, you're correct. Second of all, proud of you for looking at that because volume tells the story. And guess what? The story's different today because the volume's different today. Heads up there. I agree with you. I see the same thing.
Let's see what markets are saying about rate. Okay, so we continue to price in a 50 basis point rate cut into the market. Yesterday, expectations were as high as 10% for the rate target, or the target rate to be 375 to 400. Now it's as high as 11%. I don't think I've seen it that high in well over a month. So the expectations are getting priced in that 50 basis points is coming. I'm not sure we're going to get that. I don't think we will.
Yeah, I said that at the open here today too. I don't think so either. MSC from 1 of 7 billion here. I don't know what this is, but this is popping. This looks like an ADR, right? American Depository Shares.
This one, I think, I'll go to that one in just a second. I think we've traded that one before, but real quick, LDI hitting the session high. Not on the volume we need, but if we get that volume injection here, this thing's going higher. Sellers at 427, 431, and 434. An LDI. Now let me go look over at MSC. See if I can tell you anything about that one. pretty sure we've traded this one before. It looks familiar to me. Let's see. Do you have anything on the daily chart that says that we have? Nope. All right.
GRI rolled over, by the way.
Okay. So MSC is pretty much trading into the thick of consolidation that goes back years, from about 575 to we'll just call it 725. There is a lot of sideways price action going back to the end of 2022. So that's going to be quite a task to chew through. I would expect there to be some resistance around 635 and $7.
Right. Retro says, get your CDs before the cuts. Get that money locked in those certificate of deposits at your local bank.
That's not a bad idea if you have capital you're going to be just sitting on for a while and you want it to do something.
And you obviously want it to be a safe way of earning some money on that.
Yep. Yeah, so MSC just looks like it's been halted more than once today. Yeah, those areas I mentioned, I think those are the ones I'd be keeping an eye on for resistance. Looks like TGL still trying to get that close over the VWAP. Still low volume though. And I see how you're saying that GRI did come in a little bit. We didn't put in a session low yet. So if this can hold above 2, there might still be something here, but that volume, not interested in that volume. And here we go with TGL. I think this might be getting volume expansion. Starting to move again, looking for the regular session highs. That's 166. We're getting pretty close to that. We're there right now.
Here it is. We're right there. We'll see if we pop it. Lion saying, team, have a great day. I'm ready for my nap. Lion, aren't you at your business? Do you nap in the back room of your business?
If it's his business, he can do whatever he wants.
I was going to say, if so, that's impressive. No shade. I'm just wondering. Have a great day, though, Lion. Thanks for all your support.
Yep. Take care, Lion. Here we go with TGL. That's getting some attention now. Looks like sellers stepped in a little bit. Resistance 170 if we can get to this 165 area. What do you see for PACS? I'll look at that. Well, you folks keep an eye on TGL there. This thing got absolutely smashed, didn't it? What was the reason? So this got an NYSE compliance extension. They've got until November 19th to regain compliance. And they also apparently just appointed a new CFO. So it looks like that's the reason why it's moving today. And here we go with TGL. Look at this fantasticness. Right through 170 as well.
Look, we finally got a setup, and the setup is finally working. That's not crazy. It's not a huge move, but it's a setup. We flagged it. It worked.
And make sure you're paying yourself on the way up here, because we are running into other resistance levels. We're at one right now at 175, large seller. There's another one at 180, 185, 192. There's sellers all the way up. So just make sure you're selling into this.
My fault, 13. TGL pop might be short-lived. Indeed. Yeah. Remember, don't be afraid to take your gains. And if you're really worried about missing out on a runner, sell partial.
Yep. Raise your stops. Don't get slaughtered in this thing. You've already got the upside here. I don't see a reason why you would not want to raise your stops and make sure that you don't have a losing trade whatsoever in this.
Looks like I'm going to be getting ready for a mea culpa here today as UNH prints 358. I said I didn't know if it would get 360 here today. Sure looks like there is a magnet there on that test. HIM and anyone else on UNH. Really, really good stuff. Wookie approved, baby.
Gary, I had an employee when I used to work in retail that did that, and well, she got fired.
the laugh. The laugh there. That's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. I tell my employees to not wake me up, and if you need help, call 911. Oh, Lion. Oh my goodness. Proc, did we get another leg higher in Proc? Indeed, we did. Look at that. This actually pulled right back to the VWAP. Look at this. God, this is the setups. I'm sorry I missed this. I take full responsibility for this. Proc, impulse move. Pull back to the VWAP on contracting volume. Totally normal. We see it every day. But then what did we see? The VWAP held. The volume expanded. The next leg higher happened. And in fact, we did set new highs on that. Unreal here on Proc. Tuna, this is another really good one. Another really good one here on Proc.
Brian, I hope she is. I hope she is watching. She's probably like, I remember doing that.
Yeah, wouldn't that would be so fun. I tell you what, I'm still waiting for the first day where I'm out in public and randomly someone comes up to me and was like, I know you from that Benzinga show. Never happened. Someday I'll let you know if it does.
One day it will.
We'll see.
Anything that you're seeing looks good right now. I mean, we got that pull in TGL, so I think taking some profit, raising your stops is the good move.
I know I was saying earlier, don't short the market here. I'm just kind of taking a peek here at SQQQ. It looks like the NASDAQ pulling here. This seems fairly orderly to me. So I'm not sure if we're going to get one of those flushes that really extends this from the VWAP. Something to look at. Maybe just keep it on the back burner. I don't know if we get that here today.
TRNR still slowly making its way higher. We have a high of the regular session of 382. It looks like it's trying to get back up there right now, and if it can, if the volume can expand, it can go higher. But I don't know that it's going to go beyond 380 if on this move up here without the volume to match it. TGL not finished. And hey, look at that. SLXN now starting to show a little bit of recovery. Still not convinced that this is done selling yet. I mean, this one will probably be an afternoon trade. I don't think I'm interested in SLXN right now.
Tesla tried to peak to new highs. It pulled right off 360. It went right to that 360 resistance area that we've been talking about for some time now. I'm seeing call flow in this too. These are calls that expire tomorrow. So these are short-term trades. Nice little pop there and pull.
Yep, 360. Haven't been up here since looks like the end of May. We'll see if this area can get hammered, but I certainly expect this to pull back a little bit. All right, so TGL still printing a little bit higher, but the volume not looking too spicy. So,
Bernhard, you were already famous in my. I don't know about that, but I appreciate that. Diane, stop sniffing Ryan. So annoying. Hey, if you don't like it, there's a little X in the upper right corner. You can just click that.
MSC that you were mentioning earlier, that's now halted to the downside.
Which one?
MSC.
MSC. That's the one that we looked at just a second ago.
Yeah, that's halted to the downside.
That looks extremely thin.
Yeah, and then just waiting for something to happen with some of these other names. Looks like TGL still kind of putting in a series of upper shadows. I think this is starting to signal that it might not go much higher this morning. Maybe it comes back later, but if we get a series of upper shadows, like 3 of them, I think that'll be our signal that this is going to come back in.
Looking around here, not much for setups. Maybe Netflix if it holds this area. We talked about 1200 being an important area. It's at 1213 right now. And it's down, what, 2.75%? Actually having kind of a pullback here.
Speaking of pullbacks, TGL pulling right now. This might go right back down to the VWAP.
What, TGL?
Yes.
Let me go to that real quick.
I was just pulling there. So still kind of forming those upper shadows we don't want to see if we're looking for upside.
I'll tell you what, though, as far as we've been talking a lot about setups here, as far as setups, a back test of this 161 and a hold there, that actually that might be a tradable spot. That might be a setup spot. I'd like to see what the volume is doing at that point if that happens. What possible there?
Smoke Tunis saying that Mogu might set up. It hasn't lost its 65 EMA that it came close to touching. It still has to get through this 9 and 15 EMAs. That's the big problem it's got right now. But if it does move through that, VWAP's next, and as is $6. But I think you might get some better price action here if it does get above that 9 and 15 EMA. Big pull here with TGL. I'm glad that we started mentioning the stops because we don't want anybody getting hurt in this. Now it's reversing off VWAP. I don't know that it's going to go higher or not, but this is a good point in making sure that you keep yourself protected.
Izzy here saying Lutnick said that a deal may be struck with FMA and Freddie could be the largest IPO in history.
All right. So I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, I feel you. All right, 13. We are just about out of time here today. It's been a pretty good day. Unbelievable call by you earlier. Any closing words for our wonderful group here?
Oh, just another fantastic day. Didn't get the volume we were looking for, but we still found the trades. We still had some great movement in some of these names. It was a good morning. I'm looking for another good morning tomorrow, and it'll be the end of the week, and we'll be mouse down and drinks up, right?
Hey.
Thursday. What do I say? We got our football games back. I'm looking forward. Let's go Pack. See you folks tomorrow. Bye-bye.
There you go. 13. Great job here again here today. We will see you tomorrow. We will close the week out strong. Folks, you are all awesome. Thank you for all of the support here today. Hopefully you had a nice, profitable day. We're going to be back tomorrow to close the week out strong as we always do. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused.